you've reached peak couple energy when your undies match. MeUndies Match Me has you both covered, literally, in super soft ultra-modal undies, socks, PJs, and loungewear. Festive prints? Check. Cozy vibes? Double check. And right now, it's deal season. Get up to 50% off site-wide for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Take your couple game to the next level with MeUndies Match Me. To get deals up to 50% off, go to MeUndies.com/comfort, promo code COMFORT. That's MeUndies.com/comfort, code COMFORT.
Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
Cartoons from present in the past. Every week will be an animated bash. What a cartoon! What a cartoon! Maybe a short but mostly shows. We'll talk, we'll analyze, exploring as we go. What a cartoon! What a cartoon! What a cartoon! What a cartoon!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to What a Cartoon, home of bongs, dongs, and clever hats. I'm one of your hosts, the Yuletide brine drinker, Bob Mackey, and this is an audio exploration of every cartoon ever, who is here with me today, as always.
All right, fair enough. That's Henry Gilbert. Hey.
And this month we're talking about the Tom Goes to the Mayor episode, Rats Off to Ya.
'Tis the tale of good Tom Peters and the t-shirt that would give him hope.
Yes, we last covered Tom Goes to the Mayor back in 2019. That was year 2 of the What a Cartoon podcast. And more than 6 years later, we are returning to Jefferton to discuss the Christmas special that spawned an immortal t-shirt.
Yeah, it's always fun to go back to a classic from our 20s. And I love this one. And I think we were also thinking about this because it lines up with the start of Simpsons season 16, which we just began on the Talking Simpsons podcast.
And I guess some behind-the-scenes dirt. We kind of needed a shorter subject because we both got sick and we're both taking trips and all of this stuff kind of collided together. So we decided to focus on a shorter subject that we both love and both will probably talk about for 2 hours.
Yes, yeah.
Usually these short subjects backfire on us.
Every time we go like, well, this will be a short one. This will be under 90 minutes. So I guess, you listener, you know what we don't, how long
Yes.
this is.
You know exactly what we're in for. And yes, by the way, this podcast is brought to you by the Talking Simpsons Network. If you want to support the network, get all these podcasts ad-free, and get access to over 8 years of bonus Patreon content, go to patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. Behind that paywall, like I said, ad-free podcast. Also, over 200 bonus podcasts covering shows like Futurama, King of the Hill, Mission Hill, Batman the Animated Series, and The Critic. So if you like hearing us talk about cartoons, there's so much going on behind that paywall, and it also helps support what we do.
Yeah, and the What a Cartoon movie level, which you get a free preview of that every month on this feed. You also will get for $10 a month new, basically 3 episodes of a podcast total, us going super in depth into the history of an animated feature. And, if you like this holiday discussion, we pretty much have done a holiday one every year, or close to it. Like last year we did Muppet Christmas Carol.
That was actually 2 years ago, Henry.
Wow. Okay, man. Feels so recently.
But hey, if you liked our recent Christmas at Pee-wee's Playhouse What a Cartoon movie, you'll love the Muppet Christmas Carol movie.
And another of my favorites is Tokyo Godfathers, which is both a Christmas and New Year's movie. And that's just some of those recent ones. We've done all the Toy Stories. We've done so many great movies in there and so much awesome history. So sign up at the $10 level and you get all the $5 ad-free stuff too. Patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. Bob, I'm glad you looked that up because I was like, boy, I know we did Bear Traps, right? I completely forgot we did Surprise Party with it. This was back when we did like combo episodes. We're like, oh, it has to be 20 minutes of stuff.
That might have been a Patreon quest. I don't remember, but we did want to cover the origin of the series and then eventually where it ended up towards the end of its short 2-season run. And of course, we wanted to talk about Gibbons.
Gibbons. We love Gibbons. Sadly, a Gibbons-free episode, but there's still a lot of great stuff in this one. But yeah, in Bear Traps, Bob, you were the producer on that one and did very good history on the Tim and Eric work and their time together.
Yeah, if you want to learn about the history of Tim and Eric up to 2019, check out that original podcast. And I guess We could probably give some updates about the Tim and Eric world because since 2019, I have seen them again perform live. It was literally right before the pandemic. I think it was the first week of March of 2020. It was the last time I saw my wife for like 9 months. We did a lot of stuff that week when I was visiting her in Vancouver. One of the things we did was see Tim and Eric on their live tour, and it was amazing.
Oh, man. Did they do any classics, or was it like a lot of new stuff on it?
I think it was almost entirely new stuff.
Nice.
And I think they did show some clips from Awesome Show between performances just because they needed to change and get things set up. But it was almost entirely new material. And they've still got it, or at least they did 6 years ago.
I haven't seen Tim and Eric together. I have seen Tim twice by himself live, but every time Tim and Eric came through my neighborhood where I lived, I missed out on him, and I would kick myself every time. Like, I have tickets for a Tim project live thing that next year. I've already bought it for their Seattle show in April. But Tim and Eric, it's a rare treat now when they do stuff together.
I agree. You know, I love Tim Heidecker, and I love what he does. I love his sensibility. We saw him perform live, I think in like 2022 or 2023 in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But I kind of need him together with Eric for me to be truly locked in. Like, I can't really connect with any of the Tim solo projects as much as I love Awesome Show, Tom Goes to the Mayor, Bedtime Stories, things like that. Like, I just love when they're working together and bouncing off of each other.
Yeah, Eric is an interesting counterbalance, though I would, as far as solo projects go, when you like want to rate both of them separately, like they're, athletes, you go like, oh, well, I've liked Tim's solo stuff more than like any Master of None. Like, Eric Wareheim's fine in it, and he's been a good actor in other things, but like he became like such a foodie. Like, he doesn't like doing comedy as much these days, it seems.
Yeah, I think he likes doing behind-the-scenes stuff like directing and writing and not so much performing in the way that Tim likes being a performer, playing a version of himself in many cases.
Yeah, I think, too, Eric's really into food while Tim really did become like a music guy. Like, he makes like an album a year now, almost, it feels like, Tim Heidecker. Like, sometimes comedy, but sometimes earnest songs, like that he just wants to make, almost like yacht rock style music. The things he made as joke songs in Tom Goes to the Mayor and Awesome Show, he then just makes real versions of those songs.
I was thinking, weren't Tim and Eric on The Simpsons recently? No, that was 2011. That happened 8 years before we recorded our Tom Goes to the Mayor episode initially back in 2019.
Wow, man. Though that was still them like 7 years into being like prominently known. And
that was like right after Awesome Show ended. The partnership was still going strong.
I was looking up, they did their last like TV show, or I guess you'd call it a streaming. I think it aired on Adult Swim, not just the website, but 2020's Beef House. Did you watch Beef House, Bob?
You know what? I didn't watch enough of Beef House. I think it's because I was deeply depressed during the pandemic, and that's when it launched, and I did not have the stomach for that kind of humor, that kind of like alienating Lynchian humor that they do so well. I want to go back to it now, but I did enjoy the few episodes I watched to the point I could enjoy anything at that era.
Yeah, it was a hard time to watch a depressing like show about kind of a parody of 2.5 Men and those type of sitcoms, except it's like Tim and Eric live with 3 of the weirdos they cast in all of their stuff. And there's a lot of fecal material in it as well.
There really is. Yeah, I really feel like Bedtime Stories is some of their best stuff, and that was in the mid to late aughts, a bunch of like little tales from the crypt, because a lot of their comedy always involved horror.
Yes, I think that might be the ultimate expression of Tim and Eric. Although another thing I loved in Beef House I had forgotten was like that they randomly, like the actress Jamie Lynn Sigler has done very little since she was Meadow Soprano on The Sopranos. And then they cast her as like, the Leah Remini type, wife character in it. And it's just such random casting of like an actress who's not known as like a great actress and not cast in much stuff. She is having fun in the Tim and Eric zone.
It feels like for as long as Adult Swim will still exist, they might just have, carte blanche to do whatever they want. Although I don't know the state of Adult Swim now. They are still making new shows. I have not seen the new cartoon called Haha You Clowns, but I've been seeing a lot of promos for it. It makes me want to watch it. It looks very funny.
It does look fun. Yeah, it looks like a funny show, too. The only current Adult Swim stuff I've been watching has been the new season of Smiling Friends. But
Oh, me too, yeah.
And I think it's Adult Swim is working with multiple previous guests on our podcast, Rebecca Sugar, Ian Jones-Quartey, and Owen Dennis, as well as Penn Ward, on an interesting project called The Elephant. Have you heard about this, Bob?
No, I've not.
Well, you know that, I guess, fable or story you hear about, like, blind men touching an elephant, and they think it's all different things. So the project basically is, I forget who does which, but it's a 3-act thing, a 30-minute thing, and then each act is given to one of those creators. Rebecca and Ian are working together. Pendleton Ward's on one, and then Owen Dennis is on another. And they basically just do a handoff, and they don't know what the other person did with their section of the episode. So,
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I have not heard about this. I just watched a ton of Adult Swim because I was in a hotel room over the past weekend, and that's when I always watch Adult Swim, and that's because they just always have American Dad on, or Family Guy. You know what? I've grown to like Family Guy in my old age. I'm like, this is familiar.
Yeah.
I'm actually remembering a lot of episodes I've seen before. Bring it on.
I feel like Adult Swim starts at like 6 p.m. now or something on Cartoon Network when they turn it on. Hotel room as well. There is something especially comforting about, like, putting on American Dad in there, because even though I think I've seen most episodes of American Dad, they keep showing ones like, wait, when did this air? And it's like, it could be a 2025 episode or a 2017 episode, and I wouldn't know,
Yeah, same here. Yeah, and we've talked about a lot of Adult Swim shows on this podcast. We've covered almost all of the initial ones, and I feel like the Germans have a word for this, but when I watch shows from this era, from Adult Swim, it makes me nostalgic for a time I wasn't necessarily very happy. That's an odd feeling to have, but despite not a lot of things going great in my personal life, TV was amazing. And like I've said this before on other podcasts, but I feel like what MTV was to Gen X, Adult Swim was to elder millennials. Like, it's this crazy thing that started airing insane nonsense when we became adults, and we were able to watch it grow and nurture all of these amazing creators and produce all of this great entertainment.
We got to be the kids who watched Space Ghost Coast to Coast and feeling like you were breaking the rules, or like, what is this weird thing? And then that explodes into like its own just brand on the channel and gets bigger and bigger over time. And it just feels like this thing that's just for you. But yeah, I mean, I think about when Adult Swim debuted, I was starting my time in community college that I would eventually drop out of and I look back on as like extremely depressed, like pretend to go to school and sleep in my car depressed. Like, that's how depressed I was. And I was watching all of these Adult Swim shows at that same time.
Yeah, I mean, I was in college. I was just like trying to figure my life out again after a giant reset when I like got out of a long-term relationship and lost a few jobs and was figuring things out. Very lonely, had a few friends, had an anime club, but my main solace was the great stuff being aired on Adult Swim.
I was playing a lot of tabletop role-playing games then too, to live a life that wasn't mine.
I see.
Yeah, no, I looked up what aired this very night alongside this, and it like immediately fills my heart with like warmth and happiness. Like, so
We're sick.
It debuted with A Very Venture Christmas. That was the other new thing that night.
I was there.
And then also with A Very Special Family Guy Freakin' Christmas, which was the first Christmas episode, the one where Lois freaks out, and then 2 Aqua Teen Hunger Forces, Cybernetic Ghost of Christmas Past from the Future, and T-Shirt of the Dead. Then both Futurama Xmas episodes, and then if you stayed up till 1:30 in the morning, you were going to see a Baby Blues Christmas special.
Oh, man. I probably was there. I think at this era I was drinking boxed wine a lot, so I probably had a paper cup full of boxed wine, all my TV pals.
I mean, that's why I definitely saw this. I was tuning in every night to Tom Goes to the Mayor when it aired, but especially I was probably counting the hours until A Very Venture Christmas aired, because it was, I don't know if about you, Bob, but I was refreshing Jackson Public's MySpace every day, his blog, to see like, okay, have they been renewed for season 2? Have they been renewed for season 2? And this was like the one thing that came out in the 20 months between the 2 seasons.
The waits were always this long, but when we were younger, they felt a lot longer. Yeah, and I was reading either Doc Hammer or Jackson Public's Live Journal for updates
That was
about
it.
all
It was
this
Live
stuff.
Journal, not MySpace.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we should say about Tom Goes to the Mayor, despite how accepted Tim and Eric are today, I mean, they're not for everybody, but we understand what their thing is. And despite how much they shaped comedy over the past 20 years, this was a super polarizing show on Cartoon Network. A lot of people hated it. A lot of people said it was gay.
Yes.
A lot of people were also saying, I thought this was called Cartoon Network. What is this? And I'm thinking, 20 years later, this show has more animation than home movies.
Yes, they move so much, and it is like, that's why it made much more sense for them to finally just have like a live action sketch show is all that really needed to be.
I love this form of it, and there is some comedy you can do here that you can't do with just film sketches, but that just felt like a logical conclusion to what was happening in Tom Goes to the Mayor. Awesome show.
Yeah, of course we loved it. Like, we knew we were big enough comedy nerds to be like, do you know who that is for Mr. Show? And all that. We knew the connective tissue to it. And I didn't see the original Tom Goes to the Mayor shorts until after the show debuted. I don't know if you had seen them.
Same here.
First.
Yeah, I did not know about these guys until this hit cable TV.
And we were in the weird zone of, like, back then on Adult Swim, it seemed like you either picked you were an anime fan or the weird comedy fan, and anime fans hated the weird comedy, and weird comedy people hated the anime, to the point that they would make something they would not air today, like Perfect Hair Forever, just to make fun of anime because the creators hated it.
And this is one of the first shows that did not have a foot in the Hanna-Barbera past, like this and Venture Brothers. A lot of the shows like The Brak Show, Aqua Teen Hunger Force was a Space Ghost spin-off, kind of. C-Lab, they all had a foot in the past, being ironic about old cartoons. These are some of the first new creations, not relying on your nostalgia or ironic detachment from existing IP. Although I will say, I guess Venture Brothers is a light Johnny Quest parody, but they got away from that so quickly.
Yes, yeah. Well, and I think they also would get in trouble after the first season where they just had, like, Ray Spannon in the show. I think they were told, like, Johnny Quest has to be Action Johnny now. Like, some department in Warner told us he can't be a recovering, like, smack addict in the show.
Yeah, and again, I mean, despite how good I hear Jellystone is, I kind of miss the era when they turned all of these characters into depressed, divorced alcoholics.
Yes. Yeah, no, they have to be fun SpongeBob characters now. Oh, also, somebody pointed this out when we did that episode. I totally forgot this. When we did the podcast with Jordan Morris, and I asked him all those questions about Jellystone, I didn't even talk about how the creator of Jellystone is also the creator of Chow Dare, which was the whole episode we did. I totally missed
How
that.
the hell did that not come up? I'm disappointed in both of us and our entire audience. Shame on all of us.
Thank you to the one comment I read, whose name I forget.
Okay.
If you're out there, that's
one person deserves to listen to our podcast then.
And we don't deserve to host it for missing it. No.
I'm stepping down.
But yeah, they have to. The rules are you can't do these things. Though we talked about it on the Harvey Birdman one too. Like, they tried to do a fun episode about, like, Scooby-Doo or Shaggy being busted for pot, and then they had to, like, twist themselves into knots to not piss off the department licensing toys for Scooby-Doo, to say, like, no, it was all a misunderstanding, and just defang the entire idea of it.
And I guess Fred Flintstone really couldn't be in the Mafia.
Yeah, they were told that too. It couldn't really be that. Yeah, the further away they got from that, the more creative they could be. And also, this was among the first shows, just like Venture Brothers, where they got out of Atlanta production. Like, this was a Los Angeles produced show. That's why it's full of, like, TV and movie stars doing favors mostly for Bob Odenkirk.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's great to see, I mean, thinking of Bob Odenkirk now and who he is, it's great to see him doing a bit part in a Tom Goes to the Mayor episode when he's mostly at this point a behind-the-scenes figure.
Yeah.
And I guess Venture Brothers was a New York show then, right?
Yeah, it was a New York show made by, I don't know how they got around, like, Guild and all that stuff for Tom Goes to the Mayor, but for Venture Brothers, like, that's why Jackson Public, his credited name on it, because he is WGA and have a pseudonym to work for a non-Guild show.
And weirdly enough, Doc Hammer is just Doc Hammer.
Yeah, he is an enigma and a mystery. He won't fly places. He only takes trains and hates it too. Like, I was just listening to those guys, just Jackson Public and Doc Hammer, just this turning a Venture Brothers podcast. Sorry. But I just listened to them do a new podcast. There's a Venture Brothers podcast with seemingly nice hosts who had them on. They ask two questions the entire time. It just becomes a DVD commentary of just Jackson and Doc just freeballing word association, all of their things.
Yes. Well, we've discussed this, but most Adventure Brothers is just a way for them to have conversations with each other via two characters, character pairings, rather.
That's why I appreciate Ken Plume's Venture Brothers art book that actually gets them to talk about the show in a focused manner, and you learn things. Which I say that too because I actually referred to it for this podcast, since this aired with A Very Venture Christmas. I always wondered, like, it definitely seems to me that there is an edict that if you're even your first year of your TV show on Adult Swim, you got to do a Christmas episode because they will rerun them in Christmas blocks every year on Adult Swim. To this day, they still do that. And I looked up that, at least for A Very Venture Christmas, this was pitched. Jackson Public remembers it as, he pitched it to Mike Lazo and said, wouldn't it be cool if we did like a Christmas episode? And it could be a 7-minute part of an anthology of just the Adult Swim shows do Christmas episodes. And Mike Lazo liked it, and he started writing a 7-minute version. And then Mike Lazo's like, you know what, this will just be an 11-minute, and we'll just do 11-minute, all the 11-minute things. So apparently, I wonder where, unfortunately, on the DVD commentaries for this, not much information on who told them to do this or what, but it sounded like Mike Lazo was pretty hands-off with them comparatively.
Yeah. And this is only the 5th episode of the show.
Yeah, they're pretty confident. I mean, Bob Odenkirk gave them a lot of confidence. I guess, too, since we did the last one, both of us have, well, I did the audiobook version, but the Bob Odenkirk memoir, we both have read/listened to it.
Yes, I listened to it as well because I wanted to just hear Bob Odenkirk read me his life story, and it is great.
Yeah, he definitely talks about working on this and discovering these guys and giving him a leg up, though also, like, the mid-aughts are, like, the lowest point in his career, it sounds like. And also, like, he's in danger of losing his home at one time, it sounds like. Like, that's why he takes, like, beer jobs and stuff.
Honestly, I think it's, like, the entire aughts until he is on Breaking Bad, and I think 2009 for the first time, and that's when things pick up for him.
And now he's a bigger star than ever with more hair than ever, too. Which, like, Bob Odenkirk can buy all the hair he wants. I don't care. At least he's not... I feel like he makes more jokes about his... and I say this as a man fighting my own hairline these days. But, you know, it's... Will Arnett wants to pretend that he just grew hair again. Like, at the very least, Bob Odenkirk makes jokes about it.
We call that pivoting, when you suddenly appear with more hair and nobody can ask questions about it.
Yes. Pivoting means a different thing in the post-Me Too era. But
I'm sorry. Yeah, before it was a harmless term.
There's fun stories in there about him working on it, too. But it's just so nice to see, like, again, you look back on it, like Bob Odenkirk, he wanted to lift up a new comedy people, and he did. He effectively did. Like, these are the people, and he did it with the Birthday Boys as well. Like, more of them turned into podcasters than TV show runners, but still, he had an eye for talent, and now he's too busy, like, actually being famous and being, like, he'll probably, like, Tony Award nominated for Glengarry Glen Ross, all these things. Like, he's too busy with that to produce little seen things for nerds.
Yeah, he's too busy to be, like, I guess, a steward of future comedy generations. He's like, no, I'm still part of this. Let me back in. I
think Tim and Eric, or at the very least Tim, I think has, like, he's passed that on. He's paid it forward. He works with a lot of, like, unknowns, or tries to. I mean, on Cinema Universe, he works with a lot of people who it's their first thing. Or he'll find weird guys like Mark Proch. Or the joke in the show is they always mispronounce his name, so I don't know how to really pronounce his name.
Well, I mean, it's great that Bob, helped all these comedy guys get on their feet and produce their shows, but also it's sad that he was just ignored by Hollywood after Mr. Show, and then you'll see him in something as dire as Monkey Bone, and you're like, man, Bob Odenkirk is kind of the best thing in this movie, and he's in it for 5 minutes. Why did no one put him in anything else?
I remember in Monkey Bone, it feels like he's making his own movie, and he's like, no, I know how to be funny here.
It's like, oh, these lines you wrote are funny. I've got my own ideas about this character.
You mentioned they work on stuff with Adult Swim. That's the thing, like Adult Swim. So I did look this up, like, what have they done since we did the last one? And after Beef House, the shutdown and lockdown and all that, of course, prevented them from instantly, like, doing more live action in-person stuff. Tim and Eric did say they wrote a whole new season of Beef House, but Adult Swim didn't greenlight it. They didn't want more Beef House.
I had no idea about this.
And Tim, like, another sign of where Adult Swim's at or what it does or doesn't want. I think also Mike Lazo is retired now, but Heidecker, he has an entire universe of things called On Cinema. and with Greg Turkington, Neil Hamburger. And
Again, sorry, Henry, this world has gotten way too dense for me. At a certain point, I thought I could probably get into on cinema. Absolutely not. It is not happening in this lifetime. And I respect everyone who has been able to follow it, but just too late for me. It's passed me by.
Look, I understand. You could just hop on the moving train of it with this season. You won't have it too bad. And then if you like it, you can go back and rewatch the, I'm going to say, 200 hours of content that counts as On Cinema. Look, I understand. That's what I got tickets for in April next year is On Cinema Live is going on tour. But the On Cinema used to be hosted on Adult Swim, and they have been Patreon supported for a few years now on Cinema. So independent of Adult Swim as well.
Well, like I said, I didn't know about the canceled Beef House, so I guess my previous theory is correct. They don't have an open door policy at Adult Swim anymore. Things have changed.
Yeah,
the media landscape has changed. This is bad.
And also, Tim has become quite a regular podcaster. He does, it's a video podcast. He really is enjoying it. It's like, I've only seen some clips of it and a few, but Office Hours Live. Have you seen this, Bob?
Yeah, I've seen clips of it, but I've never actually listened to the whole thing.
It's fun because Tim is standing the whole time and then he's just interviewing people off screen. And then behind him the entire time is Vic Berger and Doug Lucenhop, who are two of the top editors of Tim and Eric content that make things look weird. And they're basically live weird editing Tim with sound effects as he does it. So it's a really interesting experience to watch Office Hours Live.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned this earlier, but also Tim and Eric got in really early in the podcast game, and it was very short-lived, but they had a video podcast that I only watched a few episodes of, but it was very strange. I don't know if it's accessible anymore, but it was around 2006, so super, super early. They were breaking new ground in that world as well, so it's cool to see Tim return to it. I think it was just called Tim and Eric, the podcast.
Oh, that's cool. Man, I was remembering Tim and Eric Night Live. That was a lot of fun online video stuff they were doing early. But
remember Super Deluxe, everybody?
Right?
No, you don't.
Nope.
Oh, by the way, the Tim and Eric podcasts are all, I believe, on YouTube. I'm just looking them up now, so
good.
You can just watch them on YouTube.
All right, I'm pulling those up after this. Well, because also when I was doing research for this, I just basically twice over in a loop, I listened to the entire awesome record, great songs while doing laundry, just all the
Yes,
music.
that was a big one for me, driving around in grad school. And if there was somebody in the car, I had to explain, well, this is from a comedy show. So
Raz now, hop on the jet ski. the Raz song.
I think my sister's cute.
Yes.
No, I was actually singing that song to my parrot today when I was getting him ready in the morning.
Oh. I wear my dad's dirty socks. I wear my... yeah, there's so many. Look, this is just old men singing songs they remember.
Yes.
Sorry.
We'll be doing this in 40 years in a rest home, and they'll just turn us towards the corner.
I probably told this story on the last Tom Goes to the Mayor we did, but I had to be told to stop putting Tim and Eric Awesome Show on the TV when I worked at the video store. The boss said, we are a movie place, and you put movies on the TV, not Tim and Eric.
I've heard about his anti-Simpsons policy. This makes sense. This checks out.
I think seeing Tim and Eric and the Beaver Boys, I think it was him having to watch a Beaver Boys sketch was when he's I can't take this anymore. Stop this.
Yeah, normally I was alone as a Tim and Eric liker, but the girlfriend I had around the time of Tim and Eric's prominence, she also really liked them. So thankfully we can get into it. We got into it together. We watch all the stuff together. So, but if I would go out in public, nobody was talking about Tim and Eric. None of the references would work on anyone. So it just, even though they were very transformational and revolutionary in terms of comedy, the mainstream didn't really notice these guys, or if they did, they're well, this is weird and off-putting.
They only like that style of comedy, it turns out, when it's selling Old Spice deodorant.
Yes.
That's the only time. And we live in the shadow of Tim and Eric. I think they're both doing very fine and make good money, but they didn't get to be extremely rich out of being decade-defining comedians. They're an entire term for comedy is Tim and Eric style comedy. Is when you say that, if you say oh, this is a Python style comedy, or it's a Mike Myers style comedy, it works the same if you say this is a Tim and Eric style comedy. It's its own term.
I just saw the movie. Well, not just. In terms of people latching onto their form of comedy and running with it, it was happening really early. So I recently saw the movie Hot Rod, which I did mostly enjoy. But there is a scene in the movie that's completely unlike anything else in the movie. It is the cool bean scene. And I was some editor just saw Tim and Eric Awesome Show, great job. And they're okay, we need something like this in the movie because there's nothing else like that in the movie, and only Tim and Eric were doing that kind of thing on their show. The movie was being made as Awesome Show was taking off. So like even that early, it didn't take very long for people to say, this is what people think is funny. This is a fun thing to do with editing and cheesy effects and in stock footage and stock art and things like that.
Yeah, the Lonely Island were compatriots of them. Like, not that I can't off the top of my head think of like things where they all worked together on stuff, but like they were at the same comedy online stuff at the same time. And yeah, your Cool Beans is Lonely Island, they make their own music too, but the Cool Bean sequence is a very Tim and Eric sequence. Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
And thinking too of the Tim and Eric, well, where they're at now, like, so yeah, that Tim is mostly, he still acts and stuff and writes his own music, but he's very invested in On Cinema this last year. Like, and meanwhile, Wareheim, on top of being a total foodie, like, I think he's written like more than one book about like food and his love of food. I did see he's about to star in an interesting sounding horror film called Onslaught, which is the next film from director Adam Wingard, who did both of the Godzilla vs. Kong movies. So this is him going back to like cheaper horror that stars interesting actors. Like it seems to be in the Zach Krieger mode, I'd say.
Okay, cool. I mean, I'm hearing those Godzilla vs. Kong movies kind of went off the rails a bit based on your impressions.
Yeah, I mean, they're not exactly... my favorite MonsterVerse movie is Kong Skull Island. Like, it's the best, like, real movie. Godzilla vs. Kong, the first one, is a ridiculous, like, wrestling match. And the second one is even more ridiculous, where Godzilla also is not allowed to do much because Toho won't let them do much. So they're really just King Kong movies where King Kong has any character arc and interesting thing. And Godzilla is like, hey, I'm here too, and I'm also stronger than King Kong. Like, that's kind of mainly Godzilla's plot point. And also, I bring up Onslaught as well because this is the second Tim and Eric connection to the MonsterVerse. Now, Bob, have you seen Kong Skull Island yet?
No.
Well, you know that...
No.
No. Okay, well, I'm telling you, it's the best one. Just watch
one of these days. I'm not that invested in King Kong, to be honest.
Well, this one, you probably know that Dr. Steve Brule himself, John C. Reilly, is in the movie. And he's like the best part of the movie. And director Jordan Vaught Roberts, he wanted John C. Reilly to wear... He's a World War II pilot who's now been stranded on an island for decades. And he has like his bomber jacket. And his bomber jacket has like a pill on the back. And it is a reference to, in Akira, Kaneda's jacket has a pill that says good for health. You know that, the jacket in Akira. So it's a parody of that, first off, with a pill on it. And then John Voight Roberts said he didn't want it to just say good for health. It says good for your health. And then John C. Reilly immediately looked at it and was like, okay, I see what you did.
I'm Dr. Brule. Man, I love that character too, which was spun out of this world in this comedy era. And yes, Tim and Eric have not been taken over by the MCU yet, unless I'm mistaken, Henry. Has
Actually,
there been
you are mistaken. You are.
God damn it.
I can't remember Eric, but Tim is actually in two different Marvel films, only one MCU one.
Okay, Eric is clean.
It's because, well, you can blame Peyton Reed. Peyton Reed is a comedy nerd who knows comedy nerd friends. So in the first Ant-Man movie, Neil Hamburger, Greg Turkington plays his Baskin and Robbins boss. And in the second Ant-Man movie, in the San Francisco Bay, Ant-Man turns giant and almost knocks over a whale-watching boat, and the head of the whale-watching tour guide is Tim. So
okay, yeah, I'm seeing Tim Heidecker plays Daniel Goobler in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes. Peyton Reed, there's an ongoing joke. This is further universes of things. This is part of the On Cinema universe that he's in these movies, but also like the fellow podcaster Tom Sharpling, who's also friends with them. It's an ongoing joke that Peyton Reed kept saying he'd give Tom Sharpling a cameo in the Ant-Man movies, and he never did until the very last movie. He got him in 2 seconds of the movie, but under heavy alien makeup in the third Ant-Man movie, the worst Ant-Man movie, and one of the worst Marvel films. And I say that loving Peyton Reed and thinking he is a good director who makes funny things.
How does this compare to, let's say, Eternals?
Eternals is entirely a snore fest, while I would say Ant-Man has 10 minutes of good stuff in it.
Are we talking about Quantumania?
Quantumania, yes. Yeah.
How did I know that? I don't know.
Beyond all of the Kang stuff that's a problem with Quantumania, it really is that Quantumania has like the opening and ending actually feel like the first 2 Ant-Man movies that are like fun, quirky comedies. And then the entire like middle 80 minutes is a green screen nowhere place of boredom, and just like there's so little interesting stuff. It's so lame comparatively.
It should have been called Ant-Man in the green screen nowhere place of boredom.
God, it's so lame. The best stuff is at the start and the end, which is mainly what's in the trailers. Like that's where also Peyton Reed put in. Everybody knows the weird guy from the I Think You Should Leave sketch who goes like, Stinky, he loves his mother. Oh my God, he admitted that guy. He has a funny scene in Ant-Man 3 in the start of that movie. But,
well, I mean, at least they're getting paychecks.
Yeah.
But it's not like Tim Heidecker has been cast as, I don't know, Batman.
yeah, no. He's
Well, actually, I want to see that now. Screw Matt Reeves. I'm waiting too long for Batman 2. Get Tim Heidecker in the cape and cowl. Let's go.
You know, see, it used to be back in the day, like in the 90s, the Tim Heideckers of the world, they'd all be in these movies. Like, they would all be like, well, we can't make a Batman movie without, Arliss in it for, like, as a funny guy. They don't do that anymore. Now the action stars are the funny guys in these movies.
Get out of here. Ryan Reynolds, you can't do both.
It used to be guys like Mike Mitchell used to get cast in these movies to get 2 scenes, and it would pay for their rent the rest of their lives, basically. They don't do this anymore. It's sad, I think. So one last thing on the status of Tim and Eric these days. They did last year, it's edited down to 5 minutes on YouTube, but on the Office Hours Live, Tim and Eric did a fun little reunion, just basically a video conference call of remembering oh, wow, it's been 20 years of Tom Goes to the Mayor. How funny. They have some fun just looking back on it. It's actually called Rick-a-Dick. Tom Goes to the Mayor turns 20, I think is the name of it.
By the way, they did do a formal Christmas special for Great Job. That is worth checking out if you're in the mood for this kind of comedy in the Christmas mode.
Oh, yes, the Crimbus special. That I remember it being very gross.
It is very gross. But, I mean, when they moved to live action, they're like, oh, we can depict so many things in such extreme detail now. And that's what you're going to be finding in the Crimbus special that aired in December of 2010.
They do love Christmas comedy, just as they do Halloween things as well, which we're recording this actually right before Halloween. Maybe I'll put on some bedtime stories if it still is streaming anywhere. Like Tom Goes to the Mayor. Well, it's all just on YouTube, thankfully, but it's nowhere. It should just be on HBO Max or Tubi,
I'm fine with YouTube. That's cool. For premium. Get those ads out of there.
I was thinking about this too, though, lately. There was a recent time recording piece on Vulture about how Looney Tunes is doing very well on Tubi, and it's like Looney Tunes are being rediscovered by it being not behind a paywall. Like, people are reminded of why Looney Tunes are good, and stuff like this, 20-year-old Adult Swim things, those should just be on Tubi or Plex or all those other free to stream things with ads.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially why they make One Piece free in both formats. It's like, well, this is the most popular thing ever. We're going to get money from you somehow. Here are avenues in which to watch it.
Well, and also, they know you can steal it, so they'll
and it's very easy to steal, as is any kind of TV show or book or comic or movie.
Mm-hmm. Though, I just watched True Grit on Tubi, where it currently lives. The ads on Tubi, they got to get these ads a little better. It is the amount of AI voice and footage that I get to see in the Tubi ads served to me while watching True Grit. They were on a new level of yuck.
That really takes you out of the, pristine Coen Brothers world, masterfully shot, expertly scripted.
You're seeing Richard Deacon's gorgeous cinematography, and then just blam, it's the general, right? Actually, I wish it was the general, the CGI general selling things to me.
We can't even get that anymore. That's hand animated. Somebody had to design the general and move him around the shack.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy that everything is the CGI characters who look so hideous from the Tim and Eric awesome show? God, what was his name? It was Scrum or something.
It's Grum?
Grum.
It's their version of Shrek.
Yeah, apples and snacks, apples and snacks. Hey, why don't we take a break and then from this reminiscence and go back to Christmas of 2004, and we all said, rats off to ya.
Hope was fading for Tom Peters. Looks like now he'll have to sell his boat.
Rats off to you, good cheer towards men. Kiss the Christmas rat again. Ring ding, ring ding. The golden rats of Christmas time. Fill your glass with yuletide brine. Ring ding, ring ding, ring ding, ring ding, ring ding.
There's a right way to rock and a wrong way to roll. You can just listen to your soul. Just remember that life is number one. You can be having so much fun. Just remember that life is much fun. You can be number one. I've counted days, tried to find ways to heal the past. Tried to become someone I'm not. It couldn't last, and time stood still when you came along. Created a moment that brought on a song, and all of my past kept quiet until time stood still.
Jefferton alive! Jefferton alive!
Hi, I'm the mayor, and my door is always open for ya!
Jefferton alive!
My name is Tom Peters, and I'm full of ideas.
Community spirit.
How are you?
Shopping.
Free to be, being free. Jefferton alive!
And we are back. It's actually not in this episode, but we came in with the classic Tom Goes to the Mayor theme because I was like, well, we got to at least hear it for you listeners there, since this doesn't really have an opening theme.
Yeah, I guess we hear the instrumental at the end, but it's not the same.
The Jefferton Alive thing, I was thinking about it too because they mentioned that they based it. I was listening to all the commentaries on that. I took it off the shelf, and I know these Warner DVDs that were published back in 2007, they apparently are a ticking time bomb of degradation.
Oh,
apparently.
Yes, actually, within a few years, one of the discs just no longer functions on my Tom Goes to the Mayor set, so I just downloaded a DVD rip from piracy sites. I already bought it, so I want to access it again.
The helpful DVD drive that I capture most audio from, it doesn't like disc 1 anymore, where Rats Off 2 lives. But disc 1 did play in other players, like my PlayStation 5 is fine with disc 1. Now, the first episode of disc 3 doesn't like that one either and shuts down too. So,
Man, I thought it was just me, so this is affecting everybody's Tom Goes to the Mayor discs, and I guess discs of this era. But what a time to be alive in which an Adult Swim show that, 120,000 people watched would get a DVD release.
A full DVD set full of bonus features that are the absolutely folks were probably just doing it for free, for love of the game, Plus they were still, this was 2007, so they were still deep in production on the middle of the 5-season run of Awesome Show. So the team is together and can also work on this stuff.
I like these commentaries because early on in their comedy career, when they were first starting on Cartoon Network, Tim and Eric were not really giving sincere interviews. They were giving these awkward in-character interviews on things like The Sound of Young America, and I was kind of getting frustrated when I'm like, I want to learn more about these guys because they're so funny. And these commentaries are some of the first times I heard them talk on the record sincerely, like, here are the choices we made. Here are the things that we think are funny. And it was just great to get into their minds on these commentaries that are inaccessible now, apparently.
I get why they put up the walls back then, and that was part of their mystique. Or also all these guys come in loving Andy Kaufman. They're their perception of what Andy Kaufman is and the things he did do. Now another thing that doesn't exist anymore, WTF. I remember when it was either both of them together or just one of them did a WTF where they admitted look, I put up walls and was I'm going to just be honest with you now.
Yeah, I definitely have heard that one whenever it went live, 2008 or whenever.
Right. Deep in the Obama era, which, hey, that was a fitting final guest for him because it is WTF. WTF was the top podcast of the Obama era, at least the first term and a half, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. It was prime Obama era podcast listening.
And now that Marin has been replaced by much eviler podcasters who also talk to presidents on their podcasts, I get why he wants to throw in the towel. I get it.
He should have stuck around, but I understand he started podcasting when he was 45. So I get how that could wear on you. You have to keep doing it so much for so long and have all these huge intimidating people on your show.
Also, he seems to really want to be he doesn't want to stop being a stand-up and wants to keep evolving and growing. And plus, he is a busy actor, or can be. He's a real actor who is really in movies.
Yeah, I remember I saw him. This is the Mark Maron podcast, by the way. I saw him in, I believe, Washington, D.C., right before he started WTF. And back then it was like, oh, it's Mark Maron from Air America. Great.
Right.
I remember his show on that failed liberal version of Fox News or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
and then I saw him immediately after WTF began with my parents in San Francisco when they came to visit. So it was great to see like the before and after when he was a little happier, when he had something to focus on.
It seems like a good stand-up to take your liberal parents to, like that you can all enjoy.
Yeah, they loved the dirtiest jokes, which was great.
Just like how, with my liberal mom and my not liberal father, we could all enjoy the filth of Dave Attell together around the same time when we saw
Sure.
it. We also love on these commentaries that Tim and Eric are very honest of like, well, that didn't work, or boy, we wrote that poorly. They're just kind of admitting, I see very few flaws in Tom Goes to Mayor, but they are admitting like they are learning to make television with Bob Odenkirk. Like you're watching them go to school basically on TV.
And what a great teacher. I mean, one of those with Bob and David episodes that's on Netflix is a behind the scenes, and you see Bob like taking charge and making bad ideas much better.
Yeah, that's the training like Odenkirk got on the job on many late nights of Saturday Night Live. We talked about on the Mr. Show podcast about how Odenkirk left Saturday Night Live going like, this is the wrong way to make a sketch show, and he has his own ideas. I was just seeing Bob Odenkirk has some very funny stories in the Jim Downey documentary. Jim wrote that, them talking about him working under Jim Downey as the head writer in the early 90s and late 80s. And there's this hilarious home video footage, like that they filmed camcorder footage in the writer's room from like the early 90s where they made up this game called Goo Ball in the writer's room where somebody stripped all of the outside off of a baseball. So it's just like a rubber ball inside that can stick to the wall. And Odenkirk and Downey came up with a game where you throw it against the wall and then you throw darts to try to like under where it's slowly rolling down to stop it moving. And like Odenkirk is talking about like, man, I was the best Goo Ball player there was. And in the camcorder footage, you see them playing it. And then the funniest thing is, in front of the Goo Ball wall is Robert Smigel dutifully trying to write things and being like, guys, we can't just play Goo Ball all night.
This is the world before smartphones. We had Goo Ball champions.
In the Simpsons writers' room, they were throwing Butterfingers at each other. They were playing Goo Ball in Saturday Night
Sticking
Live.
Candy to the ceiling.
And Bob, would you believe it? That Jim Downey went to Harvard and wrote
No
for the
way.
Lampoon?
No way.
Yep. Yeah, that's how you become one of the first writers hired to SNL's second year, and you're roommating with Bill Murray. Like that's how it happens. Like, though, hey, it helps that Jim Downey actually is a very funny guy. And
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Hey.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Although, hey, for this one, we're doing Bullshot Productions, right? We're not an absolutely territory yet.
Dipshot.
Thank you, Dipshot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the absolutely Tim Heidecker's dad to show up, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's the next show they do. It's Absolutely Productions.
I miss seeing his dad at the end of it, the absolutely. And it's so funny that they would go on to like talk about paying it forward. Absolutely became just like a place you film things. Like it's a production studio. Like I think every episode of the Comedy Bang Bang TV series, which is all free on YouTube right now in the US at least, and I again say is a great sketch show. Everybody should watch it. It is like, Scott Aukerman wrote for Mr. Show. Then when 15 years later, he gets his own TV sketch show. He's producing it out of Absolutely, which only exists because Odenkirk worked with Tim and Eric.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim and Eric, they are 5 years older than us. They are both 76 boys. Well, I guess actually no, that would make them 6 years. Okay, but they are 76 boys. And now Tim has two children who are almost teenagers. That's
oh, wow. I guess they're zeroing in on 50.
They are. It's scary times.
I think they have a long history of comedy ahead of them. A long future of comedy, rather, ahead of them.
And I think Tim and Eric, they haven't yet become old man comedy guys who can't change with the times or keep up. Like when we saw Tim Heidecker's thing, his live show was the Two Tims tour, where half of it is him doing his stand-up in his bad right-wing stand-up character, and then the other half is his music. At that, he was raising money for the DSA and anti-ICE protest stuff. That was really cool to see.
Yeah, he put out an entire album full of anti-Trump songs called Too Dumb for Suicide.
God, right.
And the cover is Trump basically shooting himself in the head with a blow dryer.
Oh, Man, that's good. Now, obviously, he's in jail after doing that now. Like, it's retroactively been arrested. That's a dangerous meme there, obviously.
No, Tim Heidecker was executed at a military tribunal. What we're seeing now is a clone created by the deep state.
Oh, that's true. I mean, there's the telltale markings. He lost a lot of weight recently. I mean, that's only what a clone would do.
Yes. He's shedding his clone cells at an alarming rate.
I think Tim and Eric also, they got, early on, somebody convinced them to do NFTs. They got sold on NFTs early in the NFT game, and there were enough people who instantly told him, Tim, come on, man. He's like, oh God, I'm sorry, guys. And he scrapped it immediately and apologized. That's what you want out of your comedy heroes.
I'm glad they listen. I'm glad they don't double down. It's great.
The DVD is full of classic promos as well, and original making ofs and stuff. And we always like to put classic ads and stuff in between the breaks in this, but it always is so. Adult Swim one's always they don't have voiceover, most of them. It's white text on a black screen.
Yeah, hey, they've had that format for a very long time, probably since 2003. And sitting in that hotel room last weekend, I'm like, the black screen bumpers with the white text, they're here.
Yeah. There's some things don't change in life, and it feels nice. But that makes it, when you listen to the breaks here, I just picked two of my favorites that are just weird music videos that you won't hear anybody say, Tim and Eric debuts tonight. So instead, it's just the proto version of a Tim and Eric character is the one of there's a right way to rock and a wrong way to roll. You should just listen to your soul. I love that one. It's Casey and his brother. I think that's the character names.
Oh, yeah. The karaoke superstars.
Yeah.
Uncle Muscles, played by Weird Al, the host of the karaoke.
Right. Uncle Muscles. Oh, good stuff, man. But
by the way, this is all funny stuff, people. Just the random things we're saying. We are pointing at things we find funny.
So this episode, basically the entire series, every episode is credited as directed by Tim and Eric, and they're all co-written with Bob Odenkirk, though Tom Sharpling and John Wurster do have some writing credits in the second batch of episodes, but pretty much it's just Tim and Eric wrote these, and then Bob Odenkirk kind of rewrote them and taught them how to do, on the DVD, they have a hilarious joke telling in their first episode of they basically wrote a movie length first episode, and Bob Odenkirk's guys, this sucks. It sucks.
I guess in case you're wondering what the show's about, well, Tom goes to the mayor, and that's it. He is an inept entrepreneur with absolutely no confidence and a horrible personal life, and he needs the chaotic demon mayor to approve his plans, get them off the ground, and they always backfire in a horrible way. And the mayor always turns against him for arbitrary reasons.
He never remembers his name. Nobody likes Tom, and everybody takes advantage of Tom. And hearing them talk about it, but even you can't really like Tom because he never stands up for himself. Or also he acts like a jerk when the few times Tom Peters ever gets any power. And he's he's also, before we started using this term, well, probably there were people online in '04 using this term in certain chat rooms, but he is an extreme cuck. He gets cucked by three different men. He adopted his sons, Brendan, Brandon, and Brandon, from his horrible, disgusting wife.
And, Joy, which is a great joke, that this horrible woman that belittles him, is cruel to him, does nothing but scream at him. Her name is Joy.
Yes, yeah, and that she's always screaming at him, and everybody hurts him. And his name, he took her name. His original name was Tom Pickle. It's
yes. Even though there's 30 episodes and they're all 10 minutes long, they will gradually build on the character, little elements of the backstory, and then towards the end, it's not always about Tom going to the mayor with an idea. Sometimes the episodes begin in different places, and of course the mayor eventually shows up, but they eventually get a little tired of this format.
And it's funny going back to these two with Tim playing such a loser, sad sack character, because very much the character Tim Heidecker plays of Tim Heidecker in On Cinema stuff and in many of his other comedies, same in bedtime stories, he more often plays the jerk, asshole character, and not the loser.
Yeah, this is a completely different mode for him at this point in his career, but he does both very well.
And this one opens with, instead of the Jefferton Alive song, you get a Santa-style hand. And I always like saying blank style. Things are always a something-style thing in Jefferton.
Nothing is authentic. Everything is some awful reproduction or watered-down version. And I always love seeing the live-action elements because we have the Santa hand, we have the Married News team. You can tell, we kind of just want to do live-action, but this is still Adult Swim and Cartoon Network, and they have not opened that door for us yet. We're experimenting with live-action traditionally filmed elements in this show.
They're pushing up against it so many times with it, and this is where it's like growing. They say that Odenkirk was the one who thought that framing it as a like Christmas Carol fable was the right way to go, because Tom suffers so much in this one that it lightens it a little bit. If you're like, well, this is more of like a fable than a regular episode.
He's very Job-like in this one.
Though much more horrible things happen to Tom in the future. It's funny in this one that they're like, oh, we're too mean to Tom, when like in season 2, for instance, he has his legs cut in half so he can pretend to be a child, irrevocably destroyed.
Yeah, I feel like a few of them end with him getting killed, or like it's presumed that he will soon die in the situation he is in.
Oh, God, he hangs himself in a jail cell in one episode.
I think that's the one I'm thinking of, yeah. The series eventually gets a lot darker when they're like, we don't have to make you sympathize with this man at all. We could just torture him.
I think Odenkirk loves this torture, too, because Odenkirk, this is in his memoir, and I was thinking about it watching this, that, like, Odenkirk is a huge Python head. Like, the Monty Python's Flying Circus was an incredibly inspirational thing to him. It sounds like even more than early SNL, it was Python. And Python is known for like downer endings, especially their movie. Like The Life of Brian is such a dark ending movie. And I think that's why like Odenkirk would love how much Tom suffers in this. And it never lets up. Like it's the same stuff Dave Merkin wanted to do on network TV and couldn't, of downer endings all of the time. Yes. What happens in our first clip here? Well, Tom goes to the mayor.
Hello?
Hello, Mayor's office.
Hi. My name's Tom Peters.
Hello, Tom.
I just wanted to drop off my application for a kiosk permit.
Great, Tom. Please sit down. Tom, where did you get that shirt?
Oh, this... I'm so glad you like it.
Oh, yeah.
This is my design. It's actually what I'm selling at the mall.
Yes, there it is. The rat's off to you is born.
And well, Henry, I've been waiting an hour to do this. I've been sweltering under this hoodie, but I'm wearing the authentic Rats Off to You t-shirt.
I'm laughing as much as the mayor is here.
I may need to cover it up, Henry. Now, I consider this an achievement, not to be vain, that I can fit into a t-shirt that I wore when I was 22, and it still fits rather well. Of course, this is a shirt I now sleep in. But Tim and Eric would often sell shirts based on episodes of the show. I had this one. I have Pipe Camp one and the Bass Fest one. Sorry, those have been given away. I managed to keep the Rats Off to You one. It's so important to me. So yes, I have the authentic t-shirt. Now, normally, Henry is the king of t-shirts.
Yes.
Today, he has been dethroned. I'm sorry, Henry. I have the crown today.
You win the Rats Off to You. Yes. I was hoping Bobby still had it. You know, in my fuzzy recollection, I feel like I owned it once. Now, I have quite a t-shirt collection, and maybe it is buried in here. But, you know, I could fit into my t-shirts from when I was 22, but that's because I think I'm 40 pounds lighter than I was when I was 22. So
this is still a men's small, so I think I'm doing okay.
Wow.
Now, when I ordered this, it came with a sheet of legal paper that you could hold up over the shirt if people found it too funny and distracting. And I did keep that along with an autograph from Tom Peters. So that is put away in my storage with all of my like keepsakes and stuff. But yeah, they really went all out when it came to this merch because honestly, 1,000 people were going to buy these things. So they wanted to put a lot of care into them. And I'm sure like somebody who worked on the show probably put it in an envelope for me. But yes, I wore this to many a bar, many a social function. Nobody ever asked me about it. No one got the joke. And that's fine because I don't wear shirts with references on them that much anymore. But whenever anyone asks me about my shirt, I'm honestly mortified. I don't want to talk about my shirt because most of the time the person won't know what I'm talking about and it'll lead to an awkward conversation. So honestly, I just say, it's some internet thing. And then they're like, okay.
I get it. You see, since I didn't think I still had a Rats Off to You, if I ever did, I only pulled out my What's Going On He-Man shirt is what I wore.
I see.
Which was, hey, we were all watching that in 2004. So I was trying to at least get back to the style of the time.
But there are many pictures of me from my early 20s hanging out with folks in drinky situations where I am wearing my fun hipster blazer with a Pipe Camp shirt under it or my bass vest. And I assume everyone thought like, oh, Pipe Camp, you must like weed. I wasn't smoking weed then. I just thought the Pipe Camp episode was funny.
Yeah, you were a pipesman of tobacco, as they saw on the show. The Rats Off to You, I always appreciated seeing you wear your Rats Off to You shirt. It was one of those things that like does connect you with a fellow nerd in life. It's what's funny obscure shirts are supposed to be. But also it's like the Mr. Show sketch of like, only wear this because I hate it. But that's not why you're wearing it. But it is almost like to be like, well,
No.
I don't think this is funny. I think the thing is funny that it's
I
in.
love it because this episode is about the shirt, and Tom, his thing is he, like, in fitting in theme with like Jefferton and late capitalism, he only makes the most useless objects that often don't function well. And this is just a tacky t-shirt, but in this instance, it's no really worse than any other tacky t-shirt, and people love it. People immediately embrace this to the point where the idea is later stolen.
I mean, this is the era of the, online-ish novelty shirts that are sweeping the nation. Like, I want to say the Ryan guy, God, now I can't remember his name, from Grandma's Virginity podcast.
Oh, Ryan Ridley, yes.
Ryan Ridley.
He made a mint writing for t-shirts. That's how he was able to like live for a while when he wasn't getting TV writing jobs, because he wrote a t-shirt with the text, "I do my own stunts," and it was a man in bandages. And that's, folks, that's what a writing job used to be. And now I think they just ask AI, make me 200 funny t-shirt prompts, and they put those on things.
Facebook is mainly just showing you a prompt for a t-shirt that you could technically order, and
Yeah.
I guess they'll print to order.
Yeah, and this is the era of the funny t-shirt. I think we're still in the era of the funny t-shirt, but this is back when there would just be jokes printed on a t-shirt. Now, the Rats Off t-shirt is more of like a kind of a classic 70s or 80s tacky t-shirt, but we're in the era in which you can go out, hang out with your friends, and have an entire written joke printed on your shirt that people would have to read. And I was just actually watching The Amazing Race Season 1, and one of the guys is always wearing one of these shirts, and one of them says, "Please hug me, I'm shy," like things like that.
Classic. Not long after that, definitely for at least the last decade, like those have been entirely co-opted, like by like Disney has been making shirts that say that, except like Grumpy is on them or whatever.
And this is also back when you could not actually, as an adult, buy a t-shirt with a video game on it without a joke written on it. So there'd be a shirt with all the Mario power-ups, and it would say, "Say hello to my little friends." Or like there'd be a NES controller, and it would say "old school."
Yeah.
Or it'd be like a clip art of Mario, like on his knee, like proclaiming his love to Peach, and it would say "#1 player." Things
Yes,
like that.
Yeah, those
If you follow the Super Mario Broth account online, you will be reminded of this era of t-shirts.
classically trained as well beneath like
Yeah,
an
yeah.
NES controller. Yeah, it's so nice now to live in a time where you can just buy a t-shirt of official Mario art that just is in and of itself the thing without it having to say something on it. Though sometimes, like now these stores sell, like you go to Target and you'll see a $10 t-shirt of Mario Kart. It is just like, art of Mario Kart driving, but they have to add something to it. So it's like, it puts like driving since 92, like is what it'll say.
Yes, yeah. Now, I'm trying to pull back on the explicit nerd references, but I do like the Uniqlo shirts that are a little more subtle, like, and nobody knows this is a video game reference. That's kind of the vibe I like these days.
I mean, their Studio Ghibli line of shirts are so much classier and have more like, they're not just a picture on a t-shirt. Like the one for Princess Kaguya is like the t-shirt is the gradient that is the poster. Like it's the pink and white gradient is the t-shirt, like for example. I'm wearing them regularly, the Studio Ghibli one. Especially, I've been saving like 3 of the sweaters to wear. Now it's sweater season, guys. It's time. I'll be wearing my Ghibli ones. The Rats Off to You shirt was like for sale immediately. Like Tim and Eric they were really ahead of the curve of like selling the merch themselves, printing the t-shirts themselves, not waiting for Warner or whoever to let the t-shirts get made.
This was right before the era in which the Venture Brothers would have their t-shirt club, where there'd be a new t-shirt every week you could buy directly from them. This is not like you're giving Cartoon Network your credit card number. They're making them in limited quantities because they recognize, like, we have devoted fans. They want things, and we can't sit on our hands for Warner to let us do this or to approve anything.
And this, made to print immediately t-shirt thing, like that's why I have too many t-shirts also is because in my 8 years of being a hardcore wrestling fan again, which I kicked now, basically a pro wrestler could just do like Rats Off to You for 1 week and then instantly print the shirts. And of course I would have to get it, Bob, and then wear the shirt to confuse everybody with a like only of the month wrestling reference on it.
Now, you kicked wrestling. Have you kept all the t-shirts?
Yes, I haven't gotten rid of them yet. I feel like some of them will be worth something because they can only be bought at certain events,
That's a lie told to you by the t-shirt companies.
I know.
And also, this is like a drug addict. Like, I'm just going to keep my pipes around. I like how they look on the shelf.
Yeah, it just reminds me. I mean, no, I haven't worn my wrestling t-shirts in a while, and they're taking up space in drawers that could be used to put more accessible current t-shirts in. I should at least put them in a bag somewhere deep in a closet. I should be
I have
doing
to
that.
introduce you to your arch enemy, Henry, Marie Kondo. She's going to come over there and kill you.
I read the comic version of that book, and yes, honestly, in her constant positivity, she would see me as one of her greatest projects, I would think. At least honestly, no, I would hope to think she's seen worse than me. But we'll talk about hey, here's something. You could buy this right now on Tim and Eric's official store, and I did not buy the T-shirt. Decided not to.
Oh, you can buy this now.
It's still on sale on the official Tim and Eric store for $30 plus shipping and handling. You could buy.
You know what? That is just the cost of a T-shirt now, and I'm completely fine with that. I'm sure I got this for 21 years ago. This is a sleep shirt. I think I need a new Rats Off T-shirt for a regular around the city viewing and wearing.
Well, man, Bob, you're going to pay even more tariffs on that, though. Like that $30, it's probably going to be double that.
It's coming right out of our listeners' pockets.
When I went to the timanderic.com, their most recent news on the official site is from 2022, late 2022, saying, Rats Off to you, back in stock. And it, well, you know what? I can't say like I can confirm you literally can still order it, but it's still available on their storefront, so I'm going to assume it's still available.
Yeah, I recommend the T-shirt. And yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of this is the only design of Tom Goes to the Mayor line they did, which I think they did just 3 shirts that's available on this site.
You can't buy Pipe Camp anymore, but you can. And, I saw it was still in the news, even in 2023, popular musical artist Lizzo, she did an Instagram video. She's wearing Rats Off to you in the video. She has her own Rats Off to you.
Things used to last. A T-shirt made in 2004, you can wear it in 2025. One made today, I'm not so sure.
That's the era of fast fashion, right? It's just all supposed to instantly go to a landfill or get musty in my closet, as it does for me right now.
I should say I regularly wear a shirt to sleep in that I got in 6th grade. It is my shirt I got through the DARE program. It was too big for me when I was 12. It's too big for me when I am 43. But all the stitching has remained intact despite the thousands of times I probably washed it.
And it has kept you drug-free all these years, the entire time you've worn it.
Yeah. For certain eras of my life, like including now.
You own some didgeridoos in your time, as Tom Goes to the Mayor would call them, I would say.
Some rain sticks.
Yeah, The mayor loves it. He wants to support this so much, but also the mayor is easily distracted because learning about the T-shirt is also when he learns about Tom has a side project.
Well, I'm just so honored you like it. I'm hoping to sell a bunch of these guys. I need to make some extra money for the boys' Christmas presents. Otherwise, I'll have to sell my boat.
Tom, I didn't know you were such a boatsman.
Well, it's just a little 15-footer.
I can see it in my mind.
Okay.
I'd love to see your boat.
Keep heading straight.
I smell a boat.
Well, I'm not sure why we have to do it this way.
I feel like I'm getting warmer.
It's right in front of you.
Oh, nice. There it is. Wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, Tom, that shirt. Wow, you're going to sell 1,000 of these guys. Let's get that kiosk started right away.
Well, and when he sees his boat, obviously, he's actually touching Tom's penis when he's doing it.
Yes. The penis is not a 15-footer, nor is his dinky little rowboat that's up on cinder blocks in the front yard. Now, we talked about this in the first episode. This is some classic, like, Rust Belt comedy. Jefferton is just a forsaken industrial suburb, and I just love how bleak every shot of this town is, especially the exteriors.
I didn't never have any natural anything in it. Like, there's not grass, there aren't trees. It's just gray ugliness. And Tom, this is the first time in the series you see Tom's home, actually. Like, this is a big moment. And even the tracking shot, like, it's ugly track housing of everything there. And then Tom's is, like, the most hideous. It's just like a tiny concrete box, shit box they live in. And obviously where he's not allowed to sleep in the same bed with his wife. And it's a horrible, horrible existence for Tom. All he has is his boat. They say on the commentary, like, oh, we wish we'd done more stuff with his boat. But the only reason we made up the boat is for him to lose it and be further shamed.
The boat is called Misty Cove.
I also love how he's told to, like, get on his knees to be further, like, invisible or to hide the shirt more, and he goes like, all right, fair enough. That's like Tom's catchphrase is fair enough.
Yeah. A lot of this is just Tom rolling with the punches, refusing to say no, refusing to stick up for himself. And a lot of what Tom does is use business speak. in very non-convincing ways. So that he's always like, oh, in regards to, like, he's thinking in terms of, like, I'm in a business meeting and using business terms with people.
He's always trying to network and connect. There was another from the other episode that we had done with Bear Trap Surprise Party. I love when he's showing off his business cards, except he goes like, mind the typo. That says his name wrong.
Little weird pronunciations he has. Yeah, I love all the little tiny subtle gags and running gags in this show. Like, we covered one earlier in which Tom enters the mayor's office, and the mayor says, hello, mayor's office, who's there, please? Like he's answering the phone. He's seeing a man in front of him. And then whenever Tom talks to his wife, he says, it's Tom Peters, your husband? Like, he always has to say his entire name. Like, hey, it's Tom, or like, hey, sweetie. He doesn't say that. He's like, hello, it's Tom Peters.
And every time the mayor introduces himself, like, he doesn't remember Tom, and then he goes like, it's Tom Peters, like, hello, Tom. Like, he's always happy to see him, but he never remembers him. He forgets him in the same episode, in this one, even. And it seems like it's looking good for Tom. Like, the mayor loves his shirt. Like, it's great. And also, like, this just became a thing around this time of, like, if you just sing something like, I'd love to see your boat, like, that's a joke then. Like, it would seem corny now, I would say, but I think so. It then.
Just an inexplicably sung line, usually from the mayor, is also a running gag in this.
So good Tom Peters got his kiosk. Hope was shining in his eyes, as the sing-songy guys let us know. And this is where we meet the big guest of the episode. Is also we go to, like, this is an ode to one of their first odes to 2004's Dying Malls, which is rich ground for Tim and Eric.
Oh, for sure. And this is, seeing Tim's kiosk is, you would see a lot of kiosks or stores in the mall, and you would think, how is this staying open? And then it closes. Like, there was I would say a too large store devoted to dog treats in my local mall that was around for maybe like 3 months. And whenever I would walk in there because a friend had a dog, I would be like, man, the real estate in this place is incredible.
Yeah, but kiosks were usually the even sadder ones, because it's like, well, you certainly couldn't afford a whole, like, storefront in the mall, so you can only have, like, the equivalent of a half of a Sunglass Hut. That's what Tom Peters can afford.
I will say I love malls, and I loved going to malls because it was a regular hangout for me as a teen. And having lived in Vancouver for a while, our Metrotown Mall, there's many malls, but the Metrotown Mall, it's like it's freaking 1992 in there at all times. The mall is always bustling. I've never seen a fuller mall with barely any closed storefronts. It's incredible. It's all happening up here in Vancouver, folks.
The Bellevue Mall in my neighborhood is a healthy mall. I think that it helps that it is, like, in a business park, like it's surrounded by businesses. That really helps.
Yeah, in this case, the Metrotown Mall is right next to a train stop, so people can easily get there and back, unlike most suburban malls, which are way out in the middle of nowhere because they wanted to buy a lot of cheap land to build a very giant building. And then when people don't want to drive all the way to a mall to buy one thing, that's when the malls die.
We just left the town of a major city with, like, a big mall that was dying every day, like in San Francisco, the one by the Powell Street station.
The Westfield Mall, and I think they officially closed it not too long ago, so I don't know what is in that space.
Also, speaking of sad things in San Francisco, I just heard the update that, like, oh, the Castro Theater is about to reopen with a residency from a musician. I was like, but movies.
Well, they've always said we'll show one movie every third quarter.
I hate this future. Leads me to appreciate more old movie houses like the Hollywood Theater in Portland, for instance, or the SIF Cinema in my area in Seattle. Like, the ones that still get to survive instead of being turned into, like, the 800th music venue in San Francisco that you don't need. Anyways. So, yes, let's hear Tom meeting some friends after meeting the mayor.
Attention, will the parents of William and Stephen Jefferton please meet them with information?
Oh, boy! What the heck? Oh, I love it! Rats off to you. These things are great! Pat Croici here, Jester's manager. Need anything, buddy?
No thanks.
Here, take my card. Who does your inking?
I actually did this batch myself. You know, I just drew on them.
Great cotton on here, Tom. I just love these. Rats off to you. Wow.
Oh, thank you very much.
Screaming voice of Jeff Garlin.
Yes, yeah, it's the unicorn of the unicorn from Toy Story himself, Jeff Garlin.
I would say the other guy on Curb Your Enthusiasm, one of the many other guys on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
one of the constants of Curb. I feel like he's in every episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm or close to it. Like the comedian Jeff Garlin, he is a longtime friend of Bob Odenkirk's. Like he's a Chicago guy. Like in 1988, when Bob Odenkirk, Conan O'Brien, and Robert Smigel were doing a sketch show in Chicago while the writer's strike was happening, Conan O'Brien was roommates with Jeff Garlin and said he was not the best roommate in a joking way. Everybody's
potentially too loud and scary if you're a weak little Harvard comedy writer guy.
You have this huge man yelling at you the whole time. Like, I mean, he's a voice. It's surprising it took that long for him to start being a voice actor and stuff. But I mean, he works very blue in Curb Your Enthusiasm. You know, it's understandable. But now he's a voice actor. Still a lot of stuff now. Yes. In 2021, late 2021, he was let go of the Goldbergs because of a pattern of verbal and physical conduct that made people uncomfortable and inappropriate language. But
he seems to have some anger issues. I remember back in the mid to late aughts, he had like a road rage incident. And people were like, oh, Jeff Garlin, he's a sweet guy. And he was explaining himself. It's like, oh, it was a misunderstanding. And now you can kind of read like, well, maybe you just have anger issues, and this was one of the first times where it got out of hand, and we can see, like, if you're no longer allowed on a set, I feel like then it needs to be dealt with in a certain way.
Yeah, it said, like, his departure was said to be a mutual decision. I'm reading from, like, the news stories then, and I think it was soon after in the next year. He sounded like he went to therapy or doctors about this. He said he was diagnosed as bipolar afterwards, so he's worked on himself some. I don't know the guy, but seemingly he will be in Toy Story 5. Some sources online say this. And also, hey, when you compare him to, like, say, a member of the Trump cabinet or a Woody Allen defender who sells crypto, he's like the third most controversial guy from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah. Hey, Tim Allen can say whatever the hell he wants. He's going to be Buzz Lightyear.
Yes. Yeah. And
he keeps stepping in it, and they're like, oh, you're still Buzz. It's fine. Just record 2 more movies, and then we can find something else for you to do.
They tried doing one without Tim Allen, and what happened? You know?
Yep.
They went woke and got broke. That's I kid. But
yes, Jeff Garlin playing Pat Croici, who is the manager of Jesters, and they really zeroed in on what is the most useless store in the mall. Well, it is the Spencer's Gifts. Yes. And what is Spencer's Gifts selling in 2004? Well, they're selling bongs, dongs, and crazy hats. And now the Spencer's now has moved on to appealing to furries. They are selling a lot of furry-specific T-shirts. Yeah.
I haven't been in a Spencer's in a long time. I think we talked a little about Spencer's as well.
By the way, somebody is a listener, and they'll be mad at us. It's actually Spencer Gifts. It's not Spencer's, by the way.
I know that. It is Spencer Gifts, but the current name of it is Spencer's Possessive. It is.
Oh, God, no.
Yes. So
this is all a mind game, Spencer's.
Yes. So it's not incorrect to say Spencer's. If you just say Spencer's Possessive, it's not incorrect now, but it was incorrect to call it Spencer's Gifts. Yes.
I think they realized we lost this war. People are just calling us Spencer's, so let's just embrace it.
It was a location in 8 Crazy Nights. So we talked about it last year for another of our Christmas it is a Hanukkah movie, holiday film discussions. And it was funny watching this too because I had like 2 friends who worked at the Spencer Gifts in the Orange Park Mall. Like you couldn't sell things when it says dongs in there or bongs. You couldn't sell things that were literally called those things because that would be illegal. So it would be, back massagers and tobacco pipes. Like that's what you got away with.
I mean, they're appealing to every subculture that is around and that will give them money. So there is a whole new wave of furry T-shirts. I just find this very charming because furries seem to be like such a subculture that a store you found in the mall would not want to sell things to them. But you can buy a shirt with a sexy fox, a sexy muscular fox, and the text, "I smell a slut." You can wear that around the mall.
Wow, that's hey, good for you if you enjoy that. Wow, that's a crazy.
And here's a muscular coyote, and the text is, "Don't touch me, kitten. I'm edging."
Oh, damn! Wow, man. I want to see some body diversity in these furries, though. I want to see what. I hope it's not just all muscle daddies in there. There's like some guys with bellies in there at least.
Yeah, I'm seeing I sniff ass. There's more than one edging T-shirt. Oh, sorry, I'm late. I was edging and I didn't want to come, and it's a muscular coyote in a top hat.
Wow. Okay. Important question. C-O-M-E is how it's spelled?
It's C-O-M-E.
Okay, all right. So that way it's a fun play on words. If it was the other spelling, then it only means one thing that you were edging and didn't want to come. Yes.
If that didn't do it for you, Henry, I have another muscular coyote, One Lick in Your Mind.
Wow. So this has to be like a consistent character then, that it's all like muscular guy. Are there at least like, is it just dudes, or are you seeing any furry ladies in there?
It's mostly like muscular dudes, like ripped coyotes and wolves. And by the way, the One Lick in Your Mind shirt, I'm being told, trending, 44 people are viewing this item.
Wow. That's, man, well, then furries have fully gone mainstream, because like Spencer Gifts back in our youth was like, it was for buying like dong-shaped macaroni, or like a Baywatch poster, or like a nearly nude Jenny McCarthy poster, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Hank Hill when I go into Spencer's. My wife and I go in there occasionally, and the T-shirts are now so vulgar. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes.
Where it's like a shirt will be like, my other cum rag is in the washing machine.
It has changed. You can just walk around with a shirt that says like fuck on it, and you look at everybody.
Dear
weird.
Lord.
Pat Croici is also a perfect Tim and Eric name.
Ah, Croici.
It's like it sort of almost sounds like an Asian name, but it's like a weird Italian-ish name, which is strange because he's like, Jeff Garlin is a very Jewish man. So
There's like a musician called Pat Croce, and I think it's like a similar sounding name. Now, one thing they identify about Tom, which is great, like people with no confidence, easily flattered. And they see nothing suspicious about a person who's immediately friendly. That is like one of the biggest warning signs, people.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, thank you very much. Like, oh, again, I love the reveal that what you're looking at is not screen printed. Tom freehand drew felt on these things, all the T-shirts too.
Yeah. And he is bribed with a big drink from Sauceman's, which we'll explore a little bit more in the future of Tom Goes to the Mayor. But apparently it is like a shrimp and chives based beverage.
I was watching that one too. They're like you pick your sauce, you pick your meat, and you pick your waiter at Sauceman's family sauce style sauce place. That it's where he has a friendship date with John C. Reilly's character. Yeah, you're right. Croici just sounds like a mispronunciation of an Italian musician. Croici, he instantly, like, you can tell he's faking it in a way that Tom can't tell, because when he says like, that's great, see you later, and he drops Tom's shirt on the floor as he walks away, like he does not care about Tom.
Oh, by the way, it's Jim Croce, not Pat Croce. That's the actual folk rock singer, songwriter guy.
He's got a lot of great songs. He sang Time in a Bottle and I Have a Name, or I Got a Name. Yeah, I got a name, I got a name. So the mayor also wants to help out, and he's going to offer to buy 100 teas with mayor fund bucks that are worth, we never see him try to spend the fun money in town.
Yeah. Tom, this is mayor's fun money. You can use it anywhere.
I also love how the mayor's like, oh, they're making me be Santa again. Actually, I love it.
Yes. I view the mayor as like a chaotic demon. Like, he is in this world to cause chaos. And I think one of the episodes even implies he's supernatural in some way. This is not a human being.
He seems undamageable in some. And I remember when Tom kills himself and goes to the afterlife, like hell is being back in the mayor's office, but the mayor is a demon. And it's like, was this always hell? Is this always hell for Tom? This is where Tom then spends basically 2 hours drinking soda. There's a time counter that lets you know just how long he's been drinking his soda.
And I love the too complicated name of this mall/strip mall. It's Jefferton Gate at the Plaza Square.
That's them also pulling out. The more time I've spent visiting Los Angeles, I'm like, oh, this is them talking about how much they hate like the villages or like the names of all these malls there are very complicated. Like 3 different owners have naming rights on each mall. It's them making fun of the horror of the Los Angeles where they have to live in to make television. These 2 Philadelphia men. So Tom has been drinking. He's really got to go. And fortunately, he's got a new friend to help.
House sales.
Not so good.
Well, sir, I would like to buy 100 of those Rats Off to You t-shirts.
Oh, thank you.
Tom, this is mayor's fund money. You could use it anywhere. Now I gotta go play Santa Claus this year.
Oh, that's a bummer.
To tell you the truth, I love it.
Crickets. Oh, gotta pee so bad. Ooh, gotta go. Hello, hi. I'm sorry. I wouldn't normally ask you this, but I really have to go to the men's room. And would you mind watching my stand for a few minutes? I'm sorry. I'm just kind of new at this.
Sure, buddy. Go take a break. Get some pizza or get one of those big cinnamon rolls about the size of my head. They are so much fun. I've got everything under control here. You've got nothing to worry about.
Oh, thanks. I'll see you in a little bit.
You know, the way he describes those cinnamon rolls, it's look, it's not hard to make me want Cinnabon, boy, I can go for that. But
Cinnabon, Henry, we've been over this.
Boy, this is
if you're talking about the proper name, the store, it's Cinnabon.
Yes, this is 8 Crazy Nights all over again. I mispronounced it a year ago on that one too.
It's never been more important to know how to pronounce Cinnabon.
The giant one. Now I've seen the last time I walked through one of the malls. Or recently I saw they sell things that are like just the inside of it. Like none of the dry outside, just the inside of the bun.
Now, I normally like these. We're talking about cinnamon buns. They're great. I mean, they're the ideal snack food. They're just the worst thing for you. They're just covered in icing. And I sometimes work out of a place. I love working out at cafes. It's great to just be around people and do my own thing and get out of the house. But the place I work in often will have cinnamon buns for sale. It's what they specialize in. And what I've seen people do to cinnamon buns has really turned me off from the idea of ever eating one. Like, yes, they are sometimes food. I have seen someone eat 2 cinnamon buns and then put their head down. Like, I'm going to die now.
Oh, my God.
I made a wrong choice. I've seen so many crimes done to cinnamon buns. The other day, I was working out of the cafe, and a woman got a cinnamon bun, an old woman, probably like in her 70s. And then she proceeded to clean the icing off of the plate with her finger, like her finger was a spoon, like noisily lick the icing off of her finger as she cleaned her plate. I mean, hey, if you're in your 70s, there are no rules anymore, but you're making the idea of eating a cinnamon bun more of a challenge to me at this point.
What surprised me in both those cases is they do it in a public place. At the very least, you would think somebody who's going to eat 2 cinnamon buns would at least have the shame to be like, well, I can't do this in public.
Yes.
I have to take this home or to
get one to go or something. But yes, people, it's almost like you're watching them have sex with food when these cinnamon buns come out.
It's like one of my favorite Onion headlines or one-line jokes like, man is going to town on that meatball sub. Like, my process of a cinnamon bun usually is more the knife and fork. Now I don't want to get my fingers all sticky, but it's a real, especially from Cinnabon. When it's in the little like box, it makes it even harder to like peel off strips of it or whatever.
Well, my wife and I are big dessert splitters, and folks, it is not gay if you do that with your wife.
Yeah, if you did it with your bro, obviously gay. Obviously.
Yeah, start kissing him immediately with the cake in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Cut out the middleman. If you're both eating the same cake, lips got to lock. That's the. Jeff Garland's evil laughter too is he, and also he's spying on Tom the entire time in the background, in the foreground too, just standing in front of him. Tom is very trusting, and also it's Tom's fault for no one else is working with him. He had no plan for, like, even if he didn't drink what seems to be 4 giant sodas or 3 lemonades and then 1 giant soda, he should have had a plan for, like, well, I have to pee at some point. How do I leave the kiosk?
I guess we didn't explain. His kiosk is basically the wire, sort of like the wire racks you can get to hang things on, set up in like in an L shape, and then there's a box, and then he's got a chair next to the box, and that's it. There's no shutter to close when he has to go to use the bathroom or anything like that. So his shirts are pilfered.
I think Croichi also noticed that the mayor offering to buy 100 shirts, people start to notice the shirt. Like, Tom is so close to actually having a sold shirt. He can't do it. So he steps away, and as soon as he comes back, which in the time cut, again, if you're looking at the counter on the clock, it takes Tom 2 hours to do his business and return.
Yeah, what was he doing? Was he sleeping on the toilet? Was he having some bathroom difficulties? Who knows?
You know, Tom has a lot of different ailments that we learn about later in the series, so I could see that's why peeing took him a long time. This is where he discovers the crime done to him and has a very funny exclamation.
Ah, Croichi! And I want a balloon man, and a trampoline, and an action car, and
Terrific.
a basketball hoop, and a Pleasant Prairie transport, and a new door. Mr. Mayor! Mr. Mayor, I need to speak with you for a minute.
1 second, little boy. Hop up here on my lap.
Fair enough. It's the Jester store, Mr. Mayor. They stole my shirt, the whole rat's off the idea. I don't know what to do.
Ho, ho, ho. Christmas is the season of hope and joy for all little boys. You must search for the magic and true meaning of this holiday season.
All right. In terms of...
Ho, ho, ho.
Rats, this is going nowhere.
Yeah, he just, again, he rolls with the punches. He's like, oh, okay, so more information, please? And then he doesn't get anything. And Eric Wareheim is obviously doing the Santa from A Christmas Story.
Yes, yeah, he's like, ho, like the forceful ho. I mean, they would have grown up on the reruns of it the same as we did, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like when Ralphie is pushed down the slide by Santa.
But I want that ho, ho, like he has nothing helpful to say. It does feel almost like Tom is almost too present to be like, I'm getting nowhere with this. Like in later episodes, the mayor being unhelpful, you'd be like, okay, and just go with it.
Yeah. Tom is maybe like a little too self-aware. He has enough dignity to be upset about like the fact that he's getting nothing.
The kids in line, this is early in the show, so the kids are just like stock photo children. By later in the series, especially with his sons, they contort the faces of the kids to such a degree that they no longer are human.
Yeah, this Tiny Tim kid is a preview of the kids that will appear later in the series. The Bob Odenkirk Tiny Tim guy we'll see in a few scenes.
Also, the mayor's rhythmic blinking, like he's able to mind control dogs in other episodes with that too.
Mm-hmm.
The vision of the official Rats Off to You is also a great bad T-shirt. Like it's, but in real life, you can just rip these off and do them. Like that's why it was so crazy to hear that somebody could actually become like comfortably well off from I do my own stunts T-shirts, because like anybody, there were a million things printed of that, like that were just copies that creator got no piece of.
Yeah. I guess no one was keeping an eye on like T-shirt catchphrase theft at this point. But yeah, the Pat Croici, the Jester's version of Rats Off to You, is much more polished and corporate.
Yeah, it's like an official mascot rat, and they've commercialized it so quickly with 6 days left. We head over to Gulliver's, as they so often do in the show, for the city council scenes, and always hosted by the head of the city council, who's voiced by Ron Lynch, who we already knew very well as a voice then.
Very distinct voice, very distinct performance. He tends to make scenes last a very long time because of how slowly he talks and how many times he's between his bits of dialogue here. But yeah, again, it is funny. There is no like civic building. They just have their meetings at a buffet.
Isn't that great? Tim and Eric were so ahead of their time about the Rod of America. Like this is everything should just be like every town hall should just be a buffet now. Tear down anything that ever seemed respectable about America and just have it all be in like a shitty strip mall built as quickly and ugly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, as we record this, we are still in the middle, I hope, or towards the end maybe, of what could be potentially the longest shutdown in American government history.
And at the same time that a whole third of the White House has been destroyed to be replaced, I would think, by a Gulliver's-style buffet.
Yes. The ballroom he's building is no different than the Gulliver's buffet. It's the same, like, style of class.
Yes. It's the same, like, this is why Tim Heidecker, especially with so much of his comedy, like he got the Trump stuff before Trump was doing his stuff. Like he could predict all of it so well. And also another of the voices credited here is comedian Craig Anton. I think he's usually the second guy at City Council. He was a Disney Channel sitcom dad on Phil of the Future at the time of this too.
Alrighty.
Fair enough. And you know what? Ron Lynch, still seemingly pretty active. I went to, at 72, I went to his Instagram. He's still doing regular comedy variety show hosting. So
that's great.
And I swear, though, in the city council thing, tell me, Bob, if you think, is this an uncredited Tom Kenny or a guy doing a Tom Kenny type voice?
It feels like uncredited Tom Kenny or guy doing a voice. I can't decide either, Henry. I'm like, is this Tom Kenny? But it's hard to say. I feel like at this point, Tom Kenny would want money. Although he is a Bob Odenkirk friend. He could have just come in to do a few lines unpaid, uncredited.
And in season 2, he does Sax Man. He's the Sax
You're
Man.
right. Yeah, I forgot he actually is a character. So this could very likely be Tom Kenny.
Though maybe in season 1, he was like too busy or something. But what happens when the city council weighs in?
Tom went to the city council, hoping they could help him out.
Jeff Bridges, I don't need no Jeff Bridges to put music to my poems.
All right. Due to the fact that there are so many Christmas grievances this year, we're going to form 2 groups. all the people with legitimate complaints, why don't you start Group A over there? And let's see, Crazy Pete and the guy with the rat shirt, go ahead and start Group B. Why don't you wait outside?
And this is like Tom's only legal recourse is trying to have a grievance at the city council meeting.
Mm-hmm. He is now just the guy in the rat shirt.
Actually, now talking about Tom Kenny and being a friend, like this is where a potential Tom Kenny part was as we get to the technically second appearance, though I'm betting this is their first filmed appearance in the show because the makeup on Eric Wareheim is not the traditional way he looked in later appearances.
Oh, as Wayne Schuyler?
Yeah, as the Married News team.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, I forget if we covered the Married News team. They will appear throughout Tim and Eric's material. They are part of Awesome Show, and Steve Brule is one of their correspondents, and that spun off into its own thing. And I love this bit because, I mean, ultimately it's about a couple being too performatively lovey in a context where that doesn't belong. But there is also an added joke of these two straight performers having to commit so much to being a loving man and woman in a couple. But then there's the other element of this being made in 2004, a very homophobic time, and alienating Adult Swim viewers who are like, this sketch show is gay. And then showing two men holding hands and staring in each other's eyes and declaring their love for each other.
Getting as like physically intimately close as they can.
Yeah.
And like
it's the kind of thing that Matt and Trey love doing, like when they make out in basketball, and they often like cover queer topics on South Park. Not always well, but they liked alienating homophobes with this kind of stuff.
It was good half of all Jackass material as well, is the other thing. Yeah, it was. They say it on the commentary for the one where they did their wrestling scene, and like Eric is shoving his crotch into Tim's face, and Tim as Jan is loving it. They're saying like when this aired, everybody on the Adult Swim forum was like, how gay are these guys? So gay. Like, what is this?
Yeah, I forgot that they covered that element on the commentaries, but yes, this was the era, and hey, maybe we're heading back to this era where things were declared as gay and written off entirely.
You know, I was taken back to this era of like gay chicken among horrible straight men, because that was one of the many unfolding stories about a politician in Maine who's running for Congress right now.
I never took part in these games. When I would see them, they would make me upset because it just felt like, well, now I know it's like, well, you're playing with the idea of like touching someone without consent, and I don't like that. But some element of it was, well, why don't you just kiss? Like,
yes,
wouldn't it be funny if I touched your penis? Look, I'm touching your penis, dude. Isn't that great?
I've said this about like Kevin Smith with his many jokes about like sucking a dick or whatever, that I just am like, if more men were in their teens were allowed to like, without fear of judgment, just do gay stuff and see if they like it or not in a comfortable scenario, you wouldn't have this kind of like toxic expression of like, oh, what if I like hugged you really tight, or like, what if we both took our clothes off? Like, if you could just like be, but it all had to be under like the performance of a joke of being
yeah. Like I do like distinctly recall like two guys from the football team often in classes, like before the class would start, one would bend the other one over the teacher's desks and they would mime anal sex for like minutes.
Yeah, see this? And it was like, if these guys could just feel like comfortable, like, you know what, we had sex and found out it wasn't for us or was for us, like then, but it had to be a joke. You can't actually like it. Like,
wouldn't it be funny if we had gay sex and then like got married and lived together in a loving home? That'd be fucking stupid and gay, right?
Though Tim and Eric, yes, theirs is one of the more wholesome of that stuff too, yes.
Yeah. I just like, again, this is, these guys like fresh to all of us, and I was just astounded by how much they were able to commit to these characters when they should be breaking at any moment, being this close to each other, saying these kind of things to each other.
I would hope teenagers today are not engaging in gay chicken, or at least a little more grown up about exploring these ideas or concepts.
Like one of my final days in Berkeley, I was walking home from your place, and a bunch of teenagers in the car shouted something out of their car window at me, and it wasn't the F slur. So I was like, "Hey, you still call me a bitch, but I'd be a little more upset if you used the slur." I guess bitch is a slur but it seems a lot lighter than calling somebody the F slur.
I would say so. It has less intent behind it of like, hey, I'm reclaiming the word bitch by calling a man that and only men that. Like, yeah.
And I was like, doing better.
Yes, Jan and Wayne Schuyler, they appear in the episode that aired before this, but their makeup is different, so that's what makes me think this is the first time they appeared. They outlast Tom Goes to the Mayor. Let's hear their first appearance.
And now, Channel 5 News at 5 with co-anchors Wayne Schuyler and Jan Schuyler, the only married news team in the Tri-County area.
You are so precious to me.
I cherish the time we have together.
You are my starlight and my mirror. Together, we are partners for eternity.
Our love for local news can only be matched by our love for each other.
And now the news.
Rats off to you, Wayne.
And rats off to you, Jan.
And rats off to our entire viewership, as Rats Off to You fever has taken Jefferton by surprise.
It seems everyone needs a Rats Off to You t-shirt, a wristlet, and a Rats Off Jester's cap. We haven't seen anything like this for years.
And remember, you can get your official Rats Off to You merchandise at any Jester store location throughout this Christmas season.
The look on his face is stuck with me forever at the end of that scene.
Yeah, he just like suddenly drops into like a sinister look of disgust, and it freezes on that. But yeah, this is a live action element in this, let's call it animated show.
They say that it was born out of, this is almost a Mr. Show sketch. Like Mr. Show, Bob Odenkirk loved TV news sketches. Like I feel like it's one every 3 episodes in the show, if not more, in Mr. Show. Bob Odenkirk pitched to them like, oh, well, you pretty much, since The Simpsons, if you're going to have a show that's like in a place like Jefferton with a consistent world, you have to have a news team. Like there's always got to be the Kent Brockman for your universe. And Odenkirk pitched, well, what if they were a married couple?
I love this idea. And then you kind of learn, well, there's a lot more in the relationship going on than we know. And that often leaks out, like the ugly personal stuff. And then I feel like American Dad does a version of this with the gay couple, the 2 anchors of their news universe.
Yeah, though sadly they lost one of them in the middle of the show. But you can still see one of the gay anchors every now and then. And when they need, because if you're doing a satire of American life, you need network news. Even today, you still would need it, though you need it less now, I'd say. Apparently, they originally thought they would have it be like, oh, this can be Tom Kenny and Jill Talley. They could play these parts. But I think they realized these characters would be such regulars on the show that they can't fit it around basically guest appearances by Kenny and Talley. So instead, they're like, well, I guess it'll be us. We'll play the Merry News team.
It was a good choice. I mean, they're great at this, and these characters will persist, but also shows their versatility. And this is like the 5th time we're seeing Tim and Eric do comedy on television. So you're like, okay, they can also do this, and they could be this brave and this committed to do this as a live-action segment.
And if you want to see a proto version of Jan and Wayne, you can find it. It's online, but it aired as part of Channel 101, the online sketch project that was like YouTube, early YouTube, where like Yacht Rock was born in Lonely Island. They had a pilot on FX, which was like Channel 101 Live, and they like live premiere sketches on it. Tim and Eric did one in it with Bob Odenkirk called Encounters. And they are Tim and Eric in it, but the characters are Jan and Wayne. It's like about the positivity and like the rainbow of feelings and all of that. Check that out, Encounters, if you want to see the beginnings of Jan and Wayne. And as you said, Bob, it then led to like the 4-season-long spin-off series, Check It Out, with Dr. Steve Brule.
Yeah, which, I mean, it gets even weirder, it gets even more Lynchian. That's another committed performance by, I didn't know about John C. Reilly until Steve Brule. So then seeing Steve Brule first and then seeing his serious dramatic roles, I'm like, man, I'm surprised I didn't know about this guy until the Brulening happened.
Did that add new layers to seeing him play Mr. Cellophane in Chicago?
Yes, except now I kind of want him to just become Steve Brule whenever I see him in a dramatic role. I'm like, well, I like Steve Brule a lot. Can you do that too?
He stopped being Paul Thomas Anderson regular these days. It's really great. You know what? I could be wrong. Maybe he is hiding somewhere in a tiny scene in One Battle After Another. I didn't see it. In Licorice Pizza, it's hilarious. For like 5 seconds, he appears playing Herman Munster at a convention in the movie. It's very funny.
Hey, great role for him.
So we hear that it's not just the T-shirt, it's so many things, including the Rats Off to You Jester hat, which you could buy many a Jester hat at a Spencer Gifts back then.
I love the name, the word wristlet.
Wristlet. That is a great word. And people are now just saying rats off to you. It's just it's taking the world by storm. It's not just the greetings that Jan and Wayne say, but it's like on the decorations in the bar where Tom is drinking.
Yeah, there's like a rats off to you beer. It just has become part of the Christmas season, this expression.
Bob Odenkirk plays another character in the episode, parodying a movie we both love.
You got the Christmas blues.
It's this whole rats off to you thing.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, huh?
Well, yeah, it's just that I came up with the idea, and now Jester's stole it and making millions. And
Oh, you did you?
yeah.
Well, I got a Christmas message for you. Why don't you take your I came up with the T-shirt and Jester stole it from me attitude, and the chip on your shoulder, and the mean look in your eyeball, and the sour lemon vibrations, and why don't you take it outside? Because we don't need that at this time of year in my bar.
What's the matter, mister?
No, don't worry about it, little boy. I'm sure a lot of people have it worse off than I do. Tell you what, here's a couple bucks to help you out.
I don't need your pity.
Rats off to you.
Yeah, I guess rats off to you becomes fuck you, too, as well, in a certain way. Yeah, he tries to give the kid, Mayor, fun bucks. And yes, Bob Odenkirk is playing basically Nick the bartender from It's a Wonderful Life.
Out you pixies go, out the door, through the window.
It's great. He has to get bigger than Nick the bar, which is like,
Yeah.
where do you get off calling me Nick? But he has to get even bigger.
Yeah. And this is when Bob Odenkirk was famous for comedic screaming.
Yeah,
Did not come up quite as much in his Better Call Saul era.
This is the kind of stuff that led to a heart attack later in his life. That's the
Yes.
I love him playing Nick the bartender, except that he's like, got the Christmas blues. And the second Tom tells him his Christmas blues, he's like, oh, yeah, well, fuck you. And he like instantly starts screaming at him. Tom gets thrown out for just complaining a little bit and then gets kicked in the face. And he's now going to have to sell his boat. Same with, like, he's having to hear the rats off carol, like with Kiss the Christmas Rat Again, ring ding, ring ding. Love that.
Yes. And oddly enough, well, I guess this will figure into Tim Heidecker's future career about songs about pee. The rat will fill your cup with Yuletide brine. It's about drinking rat pee.
Holy, man, I totally missed that. I should have realized with all of his piss songs that he did that this would be a piss-related song as well. And also how the mayor was, like, right behind them the entire time as he's just sitting in his sad little boat. The mayor then asks him, why is he so glum? Like, the mayor also doesn't remember him. He remembers the boat, but he doesn't remember him.
And to add insult to injury, his kids now all want Rats Off to You merchandise.
It's a great Christmas list where he has to buy everything, but the extra important arrow on the most expensive thing is like, well, but you really got to get an electric scooter. You got to get the Rats Off to You electric scooter. And this is where I also love Eric brainstorming noises he makes too on it. And as he's trying to think of a way, I mean, too, like, I love how he compliments. He's like, well, you got to be rich from it. And he's like, no, Mayor, didn't you remember? Like, they ripped it off from me. I'm not making any money. Oh, right.
But hey, he's rolling with the punches too because he immediately comes up with a new design.
Which is a play off Rats Off to You that becomes Hats Off to You of a hat taking off a hat.
Yes, it's such a great comedic idea where if you try to make a pun on the pun, you just come back to the original expression.
You come back to, and it's literally a hat on a hat in that a hat is wearing a hat too.
I don't think they ever sold the Hats Off to You t-shirt.
I would have bought that. I'd have bought that. They credit the design to Dino Stamatopoulos, who was doing some like extra rewrite help at the time, who go on to create Moral Oral, an even more depressing Christmas episode.
To the point where they often would forget to make jokes.
Yeah, it got canceled for being too depressing, even for Mike. Mike Lazo was like, look, guys, I let you get away with a lot of stuff, but I can't be suicidally depressed after every episode of this show.
So these Hats Off to You shirts are immediately like half off. As Tom is trying to sell them at the mall. And again, like part of the show, why the show is so funny is just the mayor immediately turns on Tom and misunderstands like what his issues are. So when the Rats Off to You music video comes on, he's like, oh, Tom, you're going to love this.
Yes, it's great. I love that Tom also says like, yeah, I know it's not funny. Like he's like, when the kid says, that's not funny. He's like, I know. And probably I have to think Tom spent a lot of money to make these new shirts to sell that aren't going to sell either. Why don't we hear a little bit of the Rats Off to You song?
I think I'd rather just go home and be with my family.
Hush now, Tom. Look, you're gonna love this video.
Ready, I'll take you up.
Come on.
Shoppers, the mall will be closing in 15 minutes. All Rats Off merchandise has been marked up 50%. The markups will continue till we close. Rats Off to you.
Shirt. Guess I'm gonna have to put this on my Discovery card again. Crickets.
We have both of Tom Peters' favorite swear words, which is crickets and shirt.
So good. I love shirt. I love crickets. All of it. Sometimes they have to subtitle it to make it clear what he's saying.
Yeah. And yeah, like any Christmas phenomenon, it needs a novelty song, and this one is by ZaZu, which is obviously a parody of "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time." At this point, only 5 years old. Were we ever so young?
God,
that "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time" was only 5 years in the rearview mirror.
That's what I love about the song and why it stuck with me forever. Like, I will thee wed, and she mimes putting on a ring, because this is like this sexualized chastity that also was part of the Spears phenomenon there too.
Yeah, and this video, the little snippet of this video we see is great. And my favorite part is when she tries to do like hand signals for "Rats Off to You," and she quickly gives up because she can't figure out how to do like "Rats Off to You" with hand signals.
And I love Eric Wareheim in his too short shorts and too tight shirt and his recycled dance moves. Like, it's so great.
And of course, this actor playing ZaZu, a regular player on Tom Goes to the Mayor, although way more famous for another role. This is Stephanie Courtney, of course. You know her as Flo from Progressive from 2008 onwards, but she was on Mr. Show at least once, and she plays a lot of the women on Tom Goes to the Mayor. She is the voice of Joy Peters and many other female characters, like the receptionist, which kind of falls out when Tom just needs to go directly to the mayor to start the episode.
They got to cut to the chase, and he just walks into the room. Stephanie Courtney was a big favorite of Odenkirk at the time. Like, she was a Groundlings member from like the 90s. She's friends. She has tons of like indie alt comedy bona fides, but then would go on to like in 2008 be Flo from Progressive, and still is to this day. Like, the last time I feel like I saw a new Progressive commercial, it basically is Flo with a family of Flos. Like, there's like 5 other. It kind of turns into a workplace sitcom of other characters that work with her also at Progressive.
Wow, the Progressive verse. I don't see these ads anymore, so I assume Flo was still around, or at least like they made a cartoon version of Flo, but I'm glad she's still getting paid for this. And I know she does like a lot of other stuff. If you look at her IMDb, she is not just Flo.
But isn't that like, I was opining about this on Blue Sky, that back in 2008 even, you could be just like, this is a funny improv actor who isn't really known, so they can become a mascot character for us. Let's hire them. By 2025, nobody gets to be a new Flo. Like, they just hire a movie star to sell this shit.
Yeah. Before you used to have shame and would go to Japan to sell CC Lemon or whatever. Now you're like, well, no, I'm for sale.
Well, just to compare Progressive, for instance, the other insurance company spokespeople, it's like, you know, I guess the dude from State Farm is like just an actor, like not a famous person. But at another one, Allstate, that's the one, J.K. Simmons is it. And he's like, I'll admit he was sort of doing it before. He has been the Peanut M&M for a long time. But he became the Allstate guy after winning an Oscar.
I will say, he did win an Oscar, but he is a character actor, and I think that's more appropriate for him. If you're like Allison Brie and doing Macy's ads, I'm like, I have seen these, and then Michael and us reminded me that Courtney Cox and Lisa Kudrow and what's the other one? Jennifer Aniston. They're all doing ads for this fucking Match 3 mobile game. Like, oh, have you heard about Match Kingdoms? It's so great. You don't even need Wi-Fi to play. I could play it on the plane. And you see these 3 women that are like now in their 60s pretending to be excited about this video game they've never heard of.
God, I mean, to get all 3 of them in that thing, you know, it's just to show off money. Like, it's to show.
Yeah, like, look who we got.
It had to cost so much. It's just like how I was just hearing about how the podcast network HeadGum was shutting down, and it's like they spent so much money on like having celebrity hosted podcasts to get big, and like they overexpanded too fast. It's like just get somebody funny and slowly build things.
We're living proof a podcast network can be 2 people with no office.
Our pals at Doughboys, HeadGum needed them. They didn't need HeadGum. And I have a feeling they won't be at HeadGum much longer based on... it was cool seeing them in a recent podcast. They were just like talking shit like instantly of just like, yeah, HeadGum's falling apart. This sucks. I really hate it. So Tom is a broken man. He has to spend all the money, wastes all of his money on it at a 50% markup. And so Tom was walking home, and I guess we also get a reference to another one we've covered, the Charlie Brown Christmas special here. As Tom reflects on what the true meaning of this season is.
Hats off to the awards of failure. Could there be any hope left for Tom?
Wow, look at that. Well, maybe it's not about the money, you know? Rats Off to You made a lot of people really happy. Maybe that's the magic of Christmas.
Hey, kids, look at me!
What the heck?
Kids, check this dance out!
Off to you, rats. Off to you.
Hey, kid, rats off to you!
Hey, Tom.
It's me.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, Tom.
Now this is what Christmas is all about.
And a little tear drips down his face. Yes, Rats Off to You has taken over the globe to the point where the rat has replaced Jesus Christ. Because this entire scene is taking place in a nativity scene. Tom is thinking about the meaning of Christmas. The Jesus in the manger explodes and the rat jumps out. And again, the mayor, a very mercurial mayor, has changed sides. And now he is actively working for the Rats Off to You campaign as the man in the rat costume.
Maybe too it represents that Rats Off to You has become so powerful. He's not dressed as Santa anymore. Santa is old news. The rat has replaced him. To think of that, what they got away with, the things will change pretty soon in the post-Boondocks era of Adult Swim. But 04 was still when they were censoring the use of the word Jesus in Futurama. And here they have a joke about exploding Jesus and lighting his bed on fire as a baby.
Yes. They're pushing the limits. Again, the profanity gates will open on Adult Swim. The blasphemy gates will open. But here they were we're still nervous about this.
It's always fun in the Tim and Eric things that they would go light on profanity. They would get to be R-rated from just pure disgustingness, not swears.
I guess the lewdness came from the ideas they were presenting rather than the words they were using.
They would show you not a traditionally attractive person naked. Those would be their jokes, not so much saying fuck you. Though now Tim Heidecker's character says fuck you quite a lot in On Cinema, for instance. Are saying, looking at the nativity scene and reflecting on it, that's so Charlie Brown doing it. And
pulling in the library version of Silent Night. I love whenever they drop in library music into these shows. We covered Beavis and Butthead Do Christmas last year, and that episode is full of that stuff.
Oh, love it. Yeah, it's cheap and easy, heartstring pulling and to joke on it. And yeah, the single tear is great too. That if you just had the joke be Tom is just fully captured by it. He's this is what it truly means. It doesn't feel the same as the single tear is it betrays how in denial Tom is. Part of Tom knows he has been ruined.
Yeah, Tom is kind of like a cauldron of rage that can never be released. And this just shows how he's dying inside as he's seeing everyone profit off this idea but him. And to see the mayor, turn on him for unclear reasons.
It's almost like the broken man at the end of 1984, Winston being broken at the end of 1984. No, I love Big Brother too, and tear dripping down his eye, single tear. I love too as far as a bigger theme they do in this world. For Tim and Eric, they show it's not even that Jesus is gone or any religion is gone from this Christmas. Santa is gone. There is not even Saint Nicholas or anything close to it. It's just pure commercialism. Buy your Rats Off shirts.
I guess a lot of this, because Tom is an entrepreneur, a lot of the show is about the profanity of capitalism and just where it can lead you. This very, very stupid trend has now eclipsed anything related to Christmas, any previous meaning. Now everyone is about this Rats Off to You for unclear reasons, just because it is a fad.
People just love the Rats Off to You so much. It's just, and also I do love the weird rules of the universe that if they hold up the shirt, it's yellow, but if they wear it, it's white. But the jester hat is colored. And then if the mayor is wearing the rat suit, then it's the colored rat suit, but he's still his blue and white man underneath.
Interesting rules of the show. Usually all the people are the very mimeographed looking blue and whites. designs, but then often the props will be stock photographs that they'll be holding or being in front of.
A tearful farewell to the holiday season as we're all about to go into what will be the Rats Off to You and Tickle Me Elmo of this Christmas, I wonder. We got something K-pop Demon Hunters related, I would bet.
Yeah. I don't know what the kids are crazy about. I don't know, Pokemon cards.
I mean, that's always there for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
I don't know what the latest. What do we know? What the latest toy trend is?
And I haven't kept up. Every year I watch the...
Labubu. We know about Labubu.
Of course, it's
Labubu is the new Rats Off to You. He's even got, like, sharp, pointy teeth.
Wow, you're right. Okay, so Labubu, officially the Rats Off to You of 2025. I usually learn about the Christmas toys from... The drag performer Trixie Mattel does a yearly unboxing of the hot toys and shows you how they work. Like, I remember last year, half of them were like... make something, or like, oh, your egg is going to hatch, or the pixie is going to appear. Like, it's not like you just get an action figure. You have to like birth or build the action figure first.
Interesting. Hey, there's some creativity involved. Gets the kid off of the screen. Now I'm sounding very old, but hey, use your hands for something. Make something.
After watching one of those, my husband got me like the stocking stuffer version of one of those. It's like, it was a blind box, gotcha style thing. But it was like Lord of the Rings, and it's like, oh, a Lord of the Rings weapon, except you make it. And basically you like pour plastic liquid into like a shaping thing. It was really weird to end up with Isildur's sword for the opening.
You have made it?
I did make it. Honestly, it was a little shabby. I had to do it a second time. We had to get a second one. Oh, I'm so bad as a movie Lord of the Rings nerd. I can't remember the name of the two knives that Legolas uses in it, but I made those. Basically, you get the hilt. The hilt is pre-made, and then you make the blade and like stick the hilt into it as like plastic that then forms as you like pour the goo into it. It seems like the type of thing that will ruin a carpet or t-shirt.
Just like a home smelting kit.
Pretty much, except you leave it out in the sun, basically, also, is how it's supposed to be. But that has nothing to do with Rats Off to You. Anyway.
No. Always a treat to return to Tom Goes to the Mayor. I mean, I won't, like I said, this show is great. We've talked about the history of it. We talked about why we like it. And I do hope that Tim and Eric will be able to work together again in the future. I don't think there's any drama between them. I think Tim is doing his own thing happily and Eric's doing his own thing happily. But whenever they get together, I love whatever they do. And when I saw them in 2020, I'm like, man, they still got it. And I can't wait to see what they do next. So I feel like there is still hope for more projects involving both of their sensibilities colliding together.
Yeah, a year ago they did the look back at it, and they still seem very friendly. I hope their schedules open up again. I hope that they can do another tour together at the very least. If not, it'd be just fun if they all of a sudden, sort of like how Homestar Runner just will eventually like, oh, hey, there's a new strong band out of nowhere. I would love it if they just like dropped a new like 7-minute Tom Goes to the Mayor sketch just out of nowhere, unplanned, except with new photos of their current selves.
It seems easy enough to me. I know there's a lot of work that goes into this, despite how simple it looks, but I say do it. It's possible. I'm sure you have a lot of existing assets just floating around on old computers, right?
I would hope they only use the SD assets from a year 2004, nothing HD.
Me too. But yes, thank you everybody for listening to this episode of What a Cartoon. If you want to support the show and get a ton of bonus stuff and get access to all the episodes 1 week ahead of time and ad-free, go to patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. Sign up there for $5 a month. You get just that and also access to everything behind the Patreon paywall. That is over 8 years worth of bonus episodes. They're all full length and they're about shows you love like Futurama, King of the Hill, Mission Hill, Batman, the Animated Series, and The Critic. And there's over 200 of those episodes to date. And it's happening at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. There is a $10 level too. That includes one very long podcast once a month, only for patrons of that level. Henry, what is that podcast?
That's the What a Cartoon movie podcast, which is like this one, except way longer because we go super in depth into the history of the film and filmmakers. It's like 3 podcasts in one, along with being ad-free, just like the other podcasts are on Patreon. In the holiday spirit, you can hear us talking about Christmas at Pee-wee's Playhouse this month. And we've previously done a lot of other holiday films. We mentioned them at the top, but don't forget we did 8 Crazy Nights last year, Muppet Christmas Carol the year before, and so many other great ones. We've done over 6 years now at least of What a Cartoon movies that you can listen to and get in the holiday spirit or whatever spirit you want to be in. I'm sure we have a fitting one for it in our back catalog at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons.
I'm going to throw this out here. I think we just completed year 7 of What a Cartoon Movie.
Wowzers. Wow.
Because wowzers indeed, because I think we began in 2018.
That's crazy, man. Well, hey, here's to year 8 of What a Cartoon movie then.
And yes, I've been one of your hosts, Bob Mackey. You can find me on Blue Sky and Letterboxd and many other places as Bob Servo. My other podcast is Retronauts. It's a classic gaming podcast all about old video games. You can find that wherever you find podcasts or go to patreon.com/Retronauts and sign up there for 2 bonus episodes every month. And Henry, how about you?
You can find me on Blue Sky and Instagram as Talking Henry. I'm sure I'm posting up a bunch there. And don't forget that you stay in the loop when we have stuff coming out on the Patreon and on the free feeds for What a Cartoon and Talking Simpsons. If you are a follower of @TalkSimpsonsPod, @TalkSimpsonsPod on all the socials, keeps you up to date with everything we're doing. And if you'd like to say a nice rats off to us, head over to TalkingSimpsons.com to see all the podcasts we have released on the free feeds for What a Cartoon and for Talking Simpsons.
Thank you so much for listening, folks. We'll see you again next time for an extended free preview of our What a Cartoon Movie episode all about My Neighbor Totoro, and we will see you then.
Bullseye!
Hey, Mayor. Hey, Michael.
Ah, Dr. Ian Blood.
Tick-tock, tick-tock, tock. Rick, a day. Do-do. Rick, a daily no. Rick, a day. Rick, a daily no.
If I could...
Rum, Reggie. Ranch, Reggie. Dick. Rick, Dick. Rick, Dick. Rum.